Are we live?
Yeah, we are live now. I mean, it
Oh
gets
man, that was comical. Like, cause here's the thing. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe he does actually have like a neurological disorder.
I think so.
Like,
There's something
like
wrong.
there's something that is fundamentally not right. Sorry, that was the background noise. I have it on my computer because I was actually gonna cook. Like, I went out and oh, here's a crazy idea. I went out and I got with some friends and had fun
What?
today. I know on the internet,
Outside?
like a big boy, like a big boy. I went to get lunch with my friend, with my two friends, and then I met them and some other friends at a brewery. So I'll fully confess, I have had a little bit of beer today. Um, but I'm I'm not a little boy. I can unlike G Man, I can actually control myself, even with a little bit of alcohol in my system. But man, he is pissed because that's all I'm going to point to is he claims that in what world does his claim that he's actually engaged peer reviewed literature make any sense? Like,
I'm trying to
does
remember one.
I'm trying to
Like,
remember a single time when he has cited a peer reviewed paper. Like, it's actually like it's kind of concern like and I do actually mean this. It's kind of concerning that he's convinced that he did.
yeah, I mean, he thinks I think in his mind at least, if he somewhat references a study, just like with the was it the gerontology thing, he
But he didn't even reference a study.
he referenced a video that was referencing a study. It's like I
No, he
think if
referenced an IO9 article that was referencing a textbook, or not even a textbook, a popular level book from 1990, from the year I was
oh god,
born.
oh god.
Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, in what world is that remotely relevant
I
in
guess that
this?
it counts. Like, okay, well, you have to give him credit. You have to give him credit. Okay, the IO9 is going to be a third. Yeah, we'll say a third. Okay, that counts for a third.
A third is, I mean, yeah, let's be
Pretty
as
generous.
generous as possible. Yeah.
Oh man, Bobby was killing it though. He's like, let's get him to teach us the math. I was like, yes, I almost forgot. We need to find out that circumference of the diameter of pi.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, and this is the thing, like, that's all he has. All he has is that he's, never mind, and never mind anything. Like, it's been years since the ATP synthase thing. Years. And yet, that's all he has. Like, what does
That's
that tell you about him as like a person?
he's pathetic. Like it is sad. It's sad that he thinks that him crying on the internet is akin to anything, I guess, tangible. Like it's like even the bullshit that I do in lab, which is hot, just awful. I cannot speak today. I'm not sure what he thinks that
Well,
he's doing.
the reason, you can't, you didn't speak clearly. I mean, you're just inferior to Ronnie. I mean, I think that's self-evident, drag. Like, don't even, like, why would you try when we're all so inferior, you
I
know?
know. I don't. I just keep trying. My little heart can barely contain, but you know what? I keep trying
Like,
somehow.
I mean, we need that song, My Heart Will Go On, you know, from Titanic.
Oh God, no.
But
Oh,
Tompkins, oh, so Bobby's saying maybe he means Tompkins paper.
perhaps that might be it. That
But
might
like,
be.
that's not a paper. Like, that's the
If,
thing is if even if, let's say that one of my students was to, you know, was to submit that, I don't even think I'd give my students an A on that. He was so sloppy.
oh, he didn't even know what half the shit was. I think when was there a section where Ruhif and this is a while back. I think they
G-rich
were he was
sequences.
they were trying to he was trying to point at G-rich sequences and he was just kind of randomly moving the cursor around and like this area and it's like what the fuck are you talking about, guy? Oh, but we called a
Yeah.
Jim earlier. He was trying to talk about he doesn't know the difference between effect and affect. I don't know if you
Oh,
caught
of course
this.
he doesn't.
Here, can
Really?
y'all see
I mean,
that?
that's not.
Can y'all see this? Effective. Does that really surprise you, though?
No, at this
no.
point, no.
So he tried to say, "Oh, my phone." I said, "My phone never corrects that."
Did you
Don't
said
try that.
well, affective is like that's a word.
He gets points for it, but he was talking about the effect of chemotherapy, and I get affect.
What does he believe about it?
What did he say? Hold on, let me get it back up.
I gotta mute because I'm about to cook.
Chemo can be effective, but it is extremely dangerous, and there are natural methods to help fight cancer. Anyone who says otherwise is a fool who has no clue what they're talking about.
Oh, then he's a bullshitter. Like, there's not a natural method that is more effective than chemo. It would be treatment if it was.
But this is coming from, this is Sarani. I mean, this is his ash. Oh God. There we go. Okay, so if y'all are wondering where Ronnie gets his science information from, it'd be, I think it's a person that looks like this. So there you go. Oh no, this is supposed to be Ronnie's girlfriend. That's what it was. Ronnie's girlfriend. When he's been passing.
I'll be back in a second. I gotta see what I gotta preheat my oven to.
Oh man, it's always 4:25. Somebody sniped G-Man's hangout. So really? Oh god.
Yep.
Somebody sniped it. That's
I can't
too
be
funny.
surprised.
You know what? I think he probably did it his damn self. Like
watch towards like the last minute of it. Somebody entered in and they didn't get the link, but they managed to get in and snipe.
Oh man, this is cute though. I do love these guys. Like because you have to wonder, like, in their minds, what's up?
Did you hear about Tommy's little statement about cyanide? He's like, "Oh well, who cares if you take cyanide? You're gonna die anyway."
What's the point of him talking about treatment methods? Like, it's like, come on. Like, he likes to draw this comparison. Well, what's more, efficacious? Well, he doesn't say that, obviously, it's too big of a word. But he likes to talk about the efficacy of these treatments. But when it comes to something he suggests that may be dangerous, it's like, well, it's kind of passe, whatever.
No, it's when he says it. It's the mainstream doesn't want you to hear this, kind of bullshit.
Which doesn't make sense. I mean, every doctor, like, here's the thing is, I've met quite a few cancer doctors. Like, I'm next to a very prominent cancer center. Like, does he just think that that cancer doctors are not interested in a cure? Like, it's a horrible, like, it's really not a fun area of biology to do if you're not invested in, helping people, because it's an incredibly confusing area of biology. Like, that's why Tommy keeps stumbling over himself in these hangouts, is because he can't keep a coherent view. And cancer is notoriously hard to keep a coherent view on because it's so many exceptions.
Well, it's not only that, but he doesn't even have a freshman understanding of biology, so that doesn't help either.
Well, he has a top-down view.
Which, I don't know what that means. Like, I don't know what it means for him to say, I have a top-down view of cancer. Like, what does that mean?
I really don't know.
So it means that he has the solution for it, and then he just traces it back to the problem. He doesn't start from the problem and try to find solutions.
Solution, problem, rock, satellite.
Fuck you.
Yes, Drag, A+.
I knew it was coming. Solution.
Like, fuck you royally. No, I mean, but in all seriousness, I would love to see any of them come in here and just to talk about it, because here's the thing is, I'm not an expert on cancer, but I don't think that there's really someone who has an expertise in the cause of cancer. Like, I don't think that that's a thing that really exists, because it's too multifactorial and it's too hard. Like, some people, I was talking with CRISPR about this because I think CRISPR does closer to cancer research than I do. If he doesn't do cancer research, if CRISPR's out there, he can correct me. But the biggest thing is that, he'll be the first to tell you, it's like, yeah, I might know about one pathway one pathway of cancer, but I don't know the entire, like, it's impossible to know the entirety of the field.
Right. It's a lot that he thinks that he can just kind of throw shit at the wall. Yeah, like it's really? Just whatever. And
to this, oh fuck.
What?
He had a Tommy Hall to the fucking hangout. Oh god.
Who did?
I did. It's open challenge.
Sure, it's an open challenge. Yeah. I mean, and here's the thing is, like, let's actually talk about the peer-reviewed science. Let's actually go through a paper. And this is what I've been challenging Tommy to do for the last day. It's like, hey, I will hold your hand through this.
You're over jumping the gun, though. You're trying to give him things that he doesn't even have a paper to write on, though. He doesn't have the understanding necessary to, understand why cyanide is dangerous for you.
And that's my point. That's the entire point of challenging him on this. And, like, that's the reason why we have this, open challenge, is because, I mean, Tommy just does not have he does not possess the basic competence to realize that he is not equipped to, to address this stuff. And I don't get it, because at once he'll admit, he'll say stuff like, oh, I'm not that smart, and there are people who know way more about this. But then he'll condescend to people for not, for lack of knowledge. And it's like, dude, you can't do those two things.
Well, he likes to play the victim and the big man on campus at the same time.
Yeah.
He claims that there are people more intelligent to him, but he chastises people for, trusting what he calls the establishment.
Which I don't know. Again, I don't know what that means.
Well, with the mainstream view of what causes cancer and how to treat it and things like that.
Well, no, I get that. Immutable. Yeah, come on. Like, don't need to be literal Larry here.
He's out in the chat right now, so he's repeating what Tommy's saying, and it still doesn't make any sense.
Who?
Tommy's actually out in the chat right now. He says he lets his papers do the talking for him.
No, he doesn't. But then why doesn't he actually read the papers? Because inevitably, like the Mary Schweitzer paper, I read it, and, like, it just doesn't justify his claim. And I point to the exact figure that doesn't justify his claim. And he still claims that the paper supports him. So I'm really confused.
If you skip over the big words that he doesn't know, then yeah, that supports whatever he wants to say.
Like, I understand that he doesn't know what DAPI is, right? Like, that's a dye, that's a nuclear dye that identifies double-stranded DNA. And, like, okay, there was some low fluorescence, like it fluoresces when it binds to, DNA that's double-stranded, and there was some of it in that. So what does that say? There's probably fragments of DNA in that fossil. Does that mean that there's a complete genome? No, but it's cool that there are little fragments that can be that can be preserved, right? And that was, I think, in that paper, figure 5. It's amazing that I know his papers better than he does.
Watch, he claims that he's never said that.
Well, part of that, Sam, is that you can read, he can't, so there's a +1.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that he thinks that, and watch, I predict he's going to say, well, no, I just listened to what the scientists say, except Mary Schweitzer publicly has said, this isn't a genome, like, I haven't found a dinosaur genome intact. I haven't found intact DNA.
And ironically, he just said, I've never claimed that there was a complete genome.
Yeah, of course. So he backpedals his claim like the fucking intellectual coward he is. And I have no qualms about calling these people intellectual cowards, right? Because they will swear up and down that they understand what they're talking about, but, I mean, they won't meet scrutiny at all.
This is why you never hear me say I understand biology very well, because I don't. If I need a question about biology, I'll ask you or I'll ask Drag, because quite frankly, that's not my strong suit. I'm more comfortable in Orgo or something like that.
Oh, now he says he never claimed there was a complete genome. He just said there was DNA in there.
Oh, the newest comment. Backpedaled? I never claimed that there was a complete dino genome was found.
Just like he claimed that, he did really well in the debate with Mel, and then later he said no, it was cringeworthy and he was unprepared.
I mean, it's really interesting because the thing about Tommy is I am willing to help. Like I've said this, I'm willing to help him through understanding this stuff because it's not easy. But he has to be receptive to learn, and he doesn't learn.
It's not the cowboy way.
He can't retain. There's something broken in his brain where he can't retain information. Like and I would say that if he's in the room, because he just doesn't even fucking pay attention to what other people say, and that's half of it. Like the reason why I can track his incoherences is because I have a pretty long attention span and I have a good memory. Like that's just a thing that I have. And it also takes effort. It takes effort to listen to people.
Part of the issue too is that even if he did have the information, I'm not sure if he would know how to connect the dots.
I don't think he does.
Well, I mean, he doesn't understand a call to action in a scientific paper trying to propose how some mechanism that they discover could be used for some other potential thing.
Well, like you look at the B-17 thing, and he has stated that he doesn't trust animal xenograph models. But yet, when it comes to B-17, he's fully willing to accept a xenograft of HeLa cells into a mouse model. Now, it turns out that when you actually encounter clinical applications, all the patients die of cyanide poisoning. So it just doesn't work clinically. It'd be cool. Do you know like how thrilled I would be if we found out that apricot seeds cured cancer? That'd be fucking awesome, right?
Oh, now he doesn't advocate for B-17.
Yeah, Tommy, I know you don't advocate for B-17, even though you said it nearly 2 days ago.
Yeah, you were advocating for it, like, and I have to ask, like, does he think that he's fooling anyone?
Does he think people just like exist in one moment and then just vanish? I mean, does he not think people have memories and can recall what happened?
And no, immutable. It's very simple. Tommy is one of these people where he assumes that everyone is as intelligent as he is, and so the error there.
That's a scary world. That's a pretty scary world, Sam.
No, but it's a normal world, right? So smart people will try to assume the best. And this is why smart people, someone like Hogtie, he assumes the very best because he assumes that everyone is at his level. And that's why he's very humble about his knowledge, among other reasons. Like, a lot of people do the same thing. The thing is with Tommy, he does the same thing, but he's a very dumb person.
I think most people that have interacted with me will say that I'm a charitable person, but I can tell bullshit where it's present. So somebody like Tommy, I know he's stupid. I mean, it's not like I'm going to just break bad on him just simply because he's stupid. But once he shows it, I'll jump on it.
Well, here's the thing. I would actually be fine if Tommy wanted to make an effort to learn, right? Like, if he wasn't so set on proving his point in retrospect, right? Because he can't accept the possibility that he's wrong. And that's why he goes, show me where I've been wrong. I mean,
that's not the attitude of a person who's receptive to learning. Uh-oh. Cool quake. Hold on, folks. They'll be right back. Should be back in a minute.
Yeah, mobile quake.
It's been doing that a lot lately.
Yeah, but Drag, do you understand why B-17 is dangerous for you?
Yeah, it has a nitrile group in it.
Yes, but do you know why the nitrile group specifically is bad?
No, let's talk about it. Other than it being cyanide.
So Sam, correct me if I'm wrong, but nitrile groups, specifically when they're introduced into your body, disturb the the charge potential gradient in the electron transport chain, which
I
is
believe
basically,
so, but it's
yeah, it
not my
disturbs.
area.
Yeah, if I recall right, it disturbs the the charge potential gradient. And for those of you that aren't aware, the charge potential gradient, meaning the protons that are emitted by the process used in the electron transport chain, is what causes the ATP synthase to work.
And guys, I gotta stop here. You know, Drag, I gotta be honest here. I can't comment on this because I didn't listen to Ronnie's mush mouth properly 4 years ago. I
You're
mean,
right.
for fuck's sake, like, can we act like adults here?
But Sam, does he really think that if we really didn't know this stuff, would you have gotten to, I don't know, any upper level fucking course, like any 3,004 level course? Like,
Well,
did they
I'll be
really not
real with
realize
you,
it?
Drag. I'll be completely honest here. I've never been like, it's never been a major unit. Like, I don't think that that specific structure has been a major focus of a test. Like, I don't know what he thinks biology education is.
That's a good point, actually. So I showed that screenshot the other day where ATP synthase did come up as one question on an exam that had almost 40 plus questions. So
Like,
it's
he
not.
thinks it's so central to biology, and it's just because he memorized it. And like, look, I honestly feel sorry that Ronnie's life clearly has not gone the way that he wished it had. Like, can we level and say that, like, as human
Yeah.
beings, we feel sorry?
Oh no,
Like,
it's sad.
I'm sorry he grew up in a shithole.
Like
I'm
it's
like,
I am lucky enough. Well, it's not like I put in a lot of fucking hard work, so where I could save enough money to move away from my in-laws in Maryland, move down to Texas, and be literally walking distance from a university where people who have worked in cancer research can now teach me. Like I am very, very fortunate that that can happen now. But for some of these guys, they like what can you say? You know that Tommy, G-Man, True, they're never actually going to go to school. They're never actually going to research any of these topics and try and like be the force of change that they want other people to be. Like if they were really about if they were about that business, if they were about that life, they would get the education they need and then do some research. Like if you legitimately think that this shit is happening, that chemo is more dangerous, then go do some fucking research.
G-Man is what does Tommy address got to do with cancer? What?
What? This is why I don't waste my time with these morons later.
Does
Okay.
he not understand how punctuation and like
No,
phrase like no, he doesn't know what a clause is. What am I saying?
no, he
He
has
doesn't
no idea.
understand. He doesn't understand the difference between a letter and a sentence. Well, a letter and a
G-Man,
word.
G-Man, you're on punishment. Remember that punishment thing? Sit in timeout, boy. All right, what's going on, Bob?
Gentlemen, can I address a central claim that G-Man made?
Sure.
Steve Jobs had more money than God. If there were a cure for cancer in these other countries, I believe at the end he went to the Philippines or something, or that could have been Andy Kaufman. My point is, he sought every treatment possible. So I'd like to address this just from a logical point of view. Leave the science out of it. Would not Steve Jobs have found one of these countries that had a cure? Why is this never discussed?
I don't think it's convenient for them because they forget about stuff like that. They don't actually want to go, you know what? There are lots of people who have sought alternative medicine and have died from it. Hell, my own cousin flew to California, thanks Sam, to seek some alternative woo-woo.
Yo, fuck you.
Because they think like him and his wife think that that's actually going to help, like drinking Chinese herbs and fucking or shit, and that's going to.
Do they play like Chinese, like weird yogi
Yes.
music, like
Yes.
when they fuck? Sorry, that's probably too much. Is that the line? You got to tell me where the line is, or else I'll push it.
There is no line.
Oh no, you cool. I had to mute because this fucking TV is loud as hell.
Oh, I was like, is that the line? But like, no, I mean, like, it's very clear, right? I don't, and it's when Tommy says like, he says epigenetics. I don't think he knows what epigenetics is. Like, I would love for him to come in here. And as Drag knows, it's like I'm very like and I'll be straight up about it. I'm very fortunate in a, although, I earned my way into getting my degree, but I get to work with, the lab I work in. It's sort of a two, like it's almost two labs combined, and the two bosses of the labs, I mean, these guys are, you can rightly say, like, they are experts on genetic regulation, like top minds, and they co-authored a paper that was, it's cited so often that you could almost say it's a classic work of the field. And yet, it frustrates me because I have to listen to people say epigenetics as if it's some magical thing, when in reality it's a field where rational discussion and rational observation and clever experimentation have to come together to understand it. This is not just like simple wave your hand and do a magic trick type of shit. Like, and we've talked about it, but maybe the reason it's not simple to me is I'm not talented enough.
Can I also address something? I've spoken to both of you off air quite a few times. Both of you accept correction. I've accepted correction. When we make a mistake, you should simply take correction. More importantly, learn what you got wrong. What I see here on this corner of YouTube is people will claim they never made the mistake, never correct the mistake, and then either obfuscate or just pretend it never happened. And it's just strange to me.
And that's kind of a sign that they haven't actually immersed themselves in an environment that is conducive for learning, because one of the ways that I learn especially is getting things wrong. When I understand what I got wrong, well, then I can go and correct it and learn from it. And these guys, they're not here to actually learn. They're here to profess something.
And what's interesting, and EO, I want to sort of extend that point, is you remember, I think it was maybe a month ago, we were talking on the phone. And when we were talking about how different our educations were with regards to math, where, sort of obviously I'm a computer science guy. So the area that I went to really, the only proof method that I'm good at is proof by induction, because that's literally every proof in computer science. And the types of stuff that I did was discrete math, whereas you're more familiar with continuous math. And like, I was happy to hear that, because if you catch me and you are able to correct me on something that I don't know, because I do have holes in my knowledge, I'm more than happy to have that correction, because it makes me a clearer thinker in the future. And I don't think that these people are interested in being clearer thinkers. They're interested in being right.
Completely agree. And like I said, ideally, this should be a community where people can learn from each other and discuss things. I know Drag is really excited about talking with people on the other side of the aisle, and they've had good discussions. I wish. The problem is, though, if you're not willing to learn anything and just want to, express antipathy and hostility, nothing is ever going to get accomplished.
I think it depends on your goal. If your goal is to pretend to be something you're not on here, then some of that antipathy may actually play a big part in that.
Well, I mean, I think that in Tommy's mind, he actually does think he's well informed. Like, I think that that's a key thing. And the same thing with True. Like, these people genuinely think they understand the topics. And there has to be a psychological change there. And I'm not, maybe this is a subject for, talking with Mr. Meatballs about it. But I'm not exactly sure how that happens, because it's something that I have to constantly work on, and I consider myself fairly even-handed, if nothing else. And I can't, and it's a muscle that I constantly have to condition, to use an analogy, but I don't know that amount of effort is going to be put in by other people. And it's not a side thing. Like, I don't think, it's one side versus the other. It's just people, how do you foster that and encourage that,
It's hard to say online.
Sorry, the model I use is I always have more to learn, and I always tell myself, I always pretend as though I'm a layman no matter what subject I'm learning, so that I will never become arrogant in that field, because I always want to learn more. And the truth is, everyone's going to know more than you in a field. The idea is to get a baseline understanding, and again, I don't see that in this community.
Well, I think, there's this paradox where people want, they think that it's really cool to know shit, and they don't, they kind of feel, I don't know how to say what the proper term would be, but they just don't feel great if they're not in the know, or if there's someone that knows stuff. But that should be a motivation. It shouldn't be something that induces a bad feeling. There are plenty of times where, I have to ask a question. Like I asked one of my lab mates who I help him with programming a lot because he's a purely trained wet lab biology. And I go, Sasha, what's the difference between 4SU total RNA sequencing and, GrowSeq? And he explains it to me, and I'm like, I'll fully be like, oh yeah, I'm an idiot when it comes to actual sequencing assays because I don't perform them. I just deal with the data generated by them. And I'm fully willing to ask that seemingly, probably to him, dumb question. Whereas he'll ask me like, oh, how do I find how many lines are in this file or something? And that's, trivially simple to me. And I know just so many ways of doing that because we just have different educations. And he's a postdoc who's insanely intelligent in his area. And for me to act as if he's clueless because he doesn't know the exact thing that I know, I mean, that's just fucking silly. There's a reason why we're able to collaborate, and it's because, I guess I haven't collaborated with him yet, but there's a reason why we're able to work in the same environment. It's because we respect that each of us have our level of knowledge.
But there isn't a disparity between your knowledge. You just have knowledge in different areas. And I think that's the difference here, because for Tommy, who said in the chat that he's marginally informed, Tommy, in the grand scheme of things, your knowledge is maybe cursory, if that. Like the things that you get wrong are things that a first year undergrad should know. So that's the measure. That's the standard.
The knowledge that Tommy Hall has, I would expect from an elementary school student. But honestly, a grown man having this kind of knowledge it baffles me.
I mean, I think that the issue is he knows these obscure facts, right? Like an obscure factoid, right? Like I don't expect a first year student to necessarily know that cancer produces what would it be? An anoxic, or tends to occur, in an anoxic environment.
Right. But they would know what oxic versus anoxic environment is, though. But that's the ironic part of it. Like he's trying to skip ahead, but he doesn't know the basics. And Tommy, if you want to know, when Sam asked you about what does anaerobic mean or anoxic, the first thing
it was fermentation.
Was it fermentation? Excuse me. That when he asked you what fermentation was, what you should have been describing was an atmosphere that is basically, anaerobic or anoxic. The first thing you started to say was, well, oxygen, that literally.
No, so let me correct you on the story, Drag.
Oh,
but I'm sorry, we're both atheists, so I'm not allowed to correct you, but no, I kid. In the story, I asked him, because the first sentence of one of his papers basically said that fermentation is part of what creates an acidic microenvironment for cancer. And I asked him, what is fermentation? And he immediately asked to talk about cancer. That's not how you understand. You don't understand these things, right? Absent of the foundations. Right. And he just wants to jump in headlong without understanding the basics. And there's really great utility in understanding those basics, because if you jump in too deep and you neglect something that should be foundational material, you end up looking like an asshole. And that's why Tommy ends up looking like an asshole so much of the time.
Yeah, excuse me. I was getting him confused with C. Brown, who didn't know that. We were talking about fossils.
I mean, I'm sure. I mean, Tommy didn't know that. He didn't know that. What was it? That blood.
The bone marrow.
Yeah, that bone marrow is in bones, and so blood and bone are constantly in contact in some areas, namely the interior of the bone and the bone marrow.
But when we ask him, we'll say, okay, well, let's try and give him a break, right? Tommy, so what's the mechanism? What's the biochemical interactions that are happening that cause this, perspective that you have, or whatever the hell he calls it? Oh, I don't know. Well, what do you mean you don't know? Well, I don't know. I just look at the whole body. Well, what the fuck does that mean, Tommy? Like, you don't actually understand how the body works, but you just guess because it's intuitive to you. But on a basic level that these are just chemical interactions. So you're supposed to convince who with this exactly?
So, Drake, can I pick up on that? Oh, sorry, Sam, go ahead.
No.
Also, the whole thing with the body's pH. I mean, the body does not have one main pH. The body's pH varies from area to area.
Oh, you caught on to that too?
Yeah, partially
Yeah.
that's because different reactions need different different range of pH to occur. Like, for instance, trying to extract a proton from a hydroxyl group is more favorable at high pHs than at low pHs. But then again, I'm talking past Tommy because he doesn't know what those things are.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, if you tried to explain, how hydrogen acts as a leaving group in different pHs, he'd be lost. And what he would say is that you're just trying to bamboozle him with terminology, even though what I've just said, given my admittedly poor knowledge of anything beyond basic organic chemistry, is foundational material, right? Like you learn that within the first term of organic chemistry.
Well, precisely. This is why in organic chemistry, and Drag, you'll learn this soon, you define what are called Lewis acids and Lewis bases in a very specific way. So, for instance, a Lewis acid is defined as a molecule that has a strong affinity to accept electrons, and a Lewis base has basically the opposite. So it's a molecule that has a strong affinity to give away its electrons, to be a donor. Whereas before, you focus more on the transfer of protons.
See, now I thought I was done with the Bronsted-Lowry shit. Now you say there's another criteria.
Yes, but it actually makes more sense.
Bronsted-Lowry and Arrhenius as well.
Yeah, they're similar. Arrhenius and Bronsted-Lowry.
They're more similar than the other two, which I will say. But they're all the same. They're all sort of different variations on similar concepts. And that's the thing, is you begin to learn these interconnections and why these different terms are necessary in order to scientific terminology isn't there to confuse. It's actually there to clarify, and you actually run into a ton of problems when you have an ill-defined problem set. That suffers from shitty definitions. You actually need clarifying definitions. And this is why, my students have had a whole unit on how to formulate problems as bioinformaticians, because it's absolutely essential to have a coherent view of things.
Can I address something? I don't want to say his name, but there was a gentleman in the chat saying that, scientist Mel was wrong about X, Y, and Z. And Immutable, if I can just use an example, Immutable and I met by disagreeing in the live chat about certain calculus problems. And not once did I cite my own authority. I simply showed him the solution. I don't want to turn this to one of Christopher Maudy's chats, but how do we have disagreements with people who haven't demonstrated their requisite skills to address these matters? How do we show them that they are wrong? Like, you can say all day long, here's what the literature says. But when he said, for example, that scientist Mel got all these things wrong, I don't even know how to possibly address those claims.
Part of video is, here's the other problem, right? Let's say I'm taking a derivative of a simple function, but I don't know the basic rules for differentiating simple functions. I'm not familiar with the form it takes or the form I'm supposed to get. Well, then that kind of is very hard to do, because not only now do I not know what I got wrong, but I don't even know how I would approach the problem to get the right answer. So if somebody were to ask me, why did I get the wrong answer for this orgo problem, but they don't even understand the theory behind the reaction, well, I can't do much, because you have to understand why the reaction takes, or how the reaction takes place, before I can help you understand why you got it wrong. the foundation is crucial to, you know, me being able to correct something.
I think it speaks to a person's character, and I honestly think that's kind of what it comes down to, a character issue. We deal with people who have poor character. You look at all the ones who honestly can't accept that they may not know as much as they really think they know, and the ones who can't accept that they have been corrected on something. And you kind of contrast how they handle criticism, constructive criticism, mind you, with how other people would handle it. And you see, even like I love little examples like this with Tommy, and that there's very little humility. Like he has, and I love his use of the word superficial here. He has a superficial kind of, it's almost like this weird facade where he pretends to be humble, but he's not. He's not a humble person at all whatsoever. I know humble people. I've lived around them my entire life. And while I'll fully admit that I don't always display humility, I am damn sure able to recognize it. Tommy does not display humility. Tommy does not actually understand the things that he's saying. And so when people who have spent years obtaining degrees that he'll never even see in his life tell him about some of the things that they actively do in the field, it's crazy. Like, it's actually remarkable how much these guys think that they can talk and offer factoids versus comprehend a subject, you know, with any degree of depth.
It's bizarre, you know, and I think that the best that we can do is hope that we offer more convincing arguments to other people, because I don't think that someone like Tommy is suddenly going to become intellectually competent. I just don't see it happening, and maybe that makes me too cynical for my own good. But fuck it, you know, that's.
But you see, but on that, you know, we're willing to move on that, because I feel the same way. I feel like I've become a lot more jaded since I've been here. But that's why I like talking to Mouty, because he disagrees with me and you, and then he will offer an alternative and say, you know what, rather than looking outward, maybe you guys should look inward and say, you know, what can I do better? And I like that.
And I think that that's a fair point, you know, and I think it prevents you, you know, from being too cynical, which is an issue.
Well, part of that, though, is it's a matter of determining at what point do I hit a brick wall. I mean, I can try to explain something to somebody in 10 different ways. And if each time I know my explanation is good, but the person doesn't get it, is it my fault that I don't explain it well, or is it the person is just, you know, just simply isn't able to get it? Tommy and G-Man and all these other people from the CCP come from a situation where the answers are given to them. Remember, the answers they get are revealed to them by God. So for them, it's not really a problem getting answers. So whatever they say is treated as correct because their God says it's correct. Whereas in this kind of arena, we don't exactly tolerate that. We don't have that leisure. We have to try and find the answers on our own and try and prove that it's correct, or at least say, hey, well, this is where the data points.
Oh, looks like our friend True is running another Bring It Evolutionist. Oh.
I mean, and he wonders why, like, and the real reason why I won't join his hangouts is there's no sense. Like, why would I join it from someone who continually blocks me? Right.
Well, and there's no sentiment to me joining a conversation where he's not interested in having a genuine conversation.
No, it's that he wants you to be pretty much a launch pad for his terrible ideas, because and I had a conversation, not to say I had a conversation with MP about this a while ago, is that in a way we end up inadvertently legitimizing these guys, because Tommy will never step foot in the lab, G-Man will never step foot in the lab, none of these fucking ball suckers that come to my channel and bitch, whine, and moan that I'm talking about G-Man will never step foot in the lab. None of them. And that's why, and I don't feel bad anymore, you know, pointing out that they're not doing shit with their fucking lives. Like, I can say that, you know what, I can get off of here and I can go back and look over something that I should look over. Sure. But that's actually going toward a goal. These fuckers aren't actually doing anything. They're sitting on the internet pretending to be something that they're not. Tommy's not a cancer researcher. G-Man's not a nutritionist. True Empiricism isn't a decent person. They're just trying to put on this fucking facade of you know, what they would like to be, and then try and convince people they are.
And if you and people watching this, why don't you troll True and tell him that he's a coward for not coming in here? because he wants us to enter his hangout where he has control because he's a fucking coward. And I feel no compunction about describing it as other, because it's the same as describing me as 5'9". You know, it's just the case.
You know, I don't have an issue with people calling me, you know, completely arrogant or completely ignorant about a topic when I'm completely ignorant, because I just don't know. Because I can't know everything. That's not a thing I can do. In the same way, though, like, I don't even want people to go into a lab. My big thing is, hey, look, if you have a question, buy a book, read something about it. If you have questions, come and ask.
Or here's a crazy concept: make an effort.
Well, that's part of what it means to, you know, take an effort, is to educate yourself and have something to learn from.
And I don't know, and I think that, you know, I think a lot of online, and I think one of the biggest things online is that people don't genuinely make an effort. You know, and I've said this, and kind of knowing where you fall on the scope of things. You know, I've heard people who are so-called, you know, autodidacts who really just don't know what the fuck they're talking about, but they feel, you know, that, oh, I'm a science enthusiast because I am a fan of, you know, the I fucking love science page on Facebook, which is just I fucking love nifty factoids. You know,
Remember, the danger of being an autodidact is that you could have a fool for both teacher and student.
Well, yeah, there you go. I mean,
Need to remember that. That's a good one.
I don't necessarily have an issue with autodidacts, but I don't think it's at a point where I guess the word is regulated that I'm looking for. I don't think it's regulated enough to be, you know, really legitimized as a system that could trump the way colleges work currently.
I mean, well, some of history's greatest minds have been self-taught in some way or another.
Well,
Right.
Sure,
I mean,
part
the
of that
lie
is-
here is that people in college aren't self-taught. I mean, if you're going to be a successful student, you're going to have to work very hard outside of the classroom. And I fucking I fucking hate this meme of what they mean by autodidact is, you know, complete autodidact, which that just doesn't fucking exist.
Case in point, Reginald Finley. Oh,
Like, it just does. Like, I've never in practicality, right, like, met someone who's a complete autodidact, right? Like, but by the same token, like, you have to be able to advocate for yourself. Like, do people think that I just get, like, is it not being, you know, is educating yourself not, you know, when I read dozens of peer-reviewed papers every couple, you know, every so often, you know, is that not teaching myself? Or am I crazy there? You know, or, you know, is someone else typing the code and investigating the data for me? So like, I kind of get on my high horse when, you know, what they mean by autodidact is bullshit, because most successful students are also autodidacts. The real discussion should be, is education efficient? And I think in many ways it's just not. At least not in its current form.
right. I mean, there's been proposals on how to change it to, I guess, allocate space to people who have different learning styles, because I'm a very tactile learner. I didn't learn that until I was an adult. And so if there are a variety of ways that we can incorporate these things, but sure. But then we also have to standardize it so it is at the same time fair.
Yeah, and the myth that there's ever going to be some non-standardized educational, you know, standard is just stupid. I just said standardized standard, I know. But like it's completely ridiculous, because we need standards. Like, that's how things function in real life. Like, I hate to say it, but you need a way of objectively judging how competent someone is. I think a problem with our schooling system is that it privileges certain skills that don't necessarily translate to being a better student, but B, a more competent, let's say, scientist. I don't think, for instance, that the ability to think experimentally is harped on enough in undergraduate education. And I'm sure, I mean, Drag, you can comment, but I think a lot of rote memorization kind of needs to go.
Completely agree, because I can remember lots of factoids in really, really fun ways, but understanding how an experimental design is supposed to contribute to how you construct, the actual experiment, it seems like a fairly straightforward thing that I'm describing, but it's not. Like, it actually takes time, and I just got done doing a peer review, no pun intended, of someone else's paper, and I can see now through this practice of how I should go forth and improve myself in my scientific writing. But this is, mind you, I'm a junior in my undergrad. This is something I feel I should have been learning my second semester in.
And I don't think it's harped on enough, and there's this myth that, educators in university, from quite frankly, people who either haven't gone to good universities or just haven't really spent any time getting beyond the basics, because the basics are always going to be a lot of rote memorization. I think that's an inevitability. But you find it, in my opinion, kind of ironically, from people who really haven't gotten to, the higher levels of the educational system, that, academics just want to have this rigid system. I don't think that that's the case. I think a lot of teachers recognize that what they're doing is, inefficient. And this is why the current format template for the course that I'm teaching is really popular worldwide.
Oh, actually, Dr. Rhodey, I think would definitely agree with you, because he wants to get me in that tissue culturing class. But he says that through his 20 plus years of teaching, he's found that, having people memorize stuff and standing over them and watching them isn't how people learn. So what he likes to do is give a mini lecture, give as many resources as he can, so that people take this crazy thing, initiative, go out, read, educate themselves, make himself readily available as a resource as needed, and then he walks the fuck away. He goes back to his office to do administrative things because he is an advisor, and you sit your happy ass in the lab and do what you need to do. And so your grade is based on what you produce. If you are able to maintain a viable culture of cells in vitro, then guess what? You get an A. Learning by doing.
And there's this, and I like, and this is a thing that I, this is not to say that, we need to change a lot of aspects of the college system. It's just these irrelevant critiques that come, and I really do get on my high horse about this, because it's honestly the majority of people that level the types of criticisms that I'm addressing here are people that don't have a fucking clue what goes into an advanced education. And it's like, you can't criticize a system if you're not part of it. It does not make any sense. And I'll step off of my high horse now. I'll dismount.
Yeah, I find it. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
And I think part of it is, like, some of the things I learned, like in calculus or in Orgo or shit like that, was learning from the internet, learning from people who publish videos and, 10, 20 minutes long, but they do problems and you go back to whatever you need to and link to another site and shows you more examples.
And more classes are being taught by YouTube lecture. I mean, it's this idea that college education is somehow ossified is just so ridiculously counterfactual that it honestly pisses me off, because you get people that really what they want to complain about is that they're shit students. And I'm sorry, if you're a shit student, some of that is going to come down to intellectual competence, and some of that is going to come down to reading style or learning style, excuse me. And that's a reality, right? Like, we can't pretend that people who fail only fail because it's not the optimal style. That's one ingredient in it.
So you just reminded me, there's a required course called Learning Systems. It's some kind of psych course that my university requires everyone to take. And I'm trying to find the description of the class, but I think it teaches you about different learning styles and how to apply them, find out which one is yours, so that you increase your chances of success as a student.
Yeah, and also making school more accessible. For instance, like, I didn't want to go to med school. Part of the reason I didn't want to go to med school and why I didn't pursue becoming a medical doctor like RSC is honestly out of the simple fact that I didn't know anyone who wasn't miserable during med school. You know, I knew people that they were all sleep deprived, all just horrific workaholics, and they didn't feel rewarded for it. You know?
Yeah.
And like, that's a major reason why I didn't choose to pursue going to med school. And that's a full honesty. And so I think that's a problem. Now, I don't think I would have been particularly well suited to be a doctor. And that was really the major reason.
No bedside manner.
Yeah, I wouldn't have. I'm just not cut out for it. I'm not passionate about it more than anything else, you know? And that's just a reality, you know? Can't force someone to be passionate where there ain't passion. You know, I would have been doing it because it's a traditional career pattern for someone like me who's gifted at math and science and you know, likes biology. And that's not a good reason to go to school for a very important profession.
No. Okay, the class is called Learning Frameworks. I just found it. It says an inquiry around the broad interdisciplinary concepts of civic engagement and citizenship for students to explicitly examine and engage in advanced critical thinking for university study. This course promotes intellectual readiness by helping students build and find resources to become personally responsible and active members of the university community, their education, and their word.
Cool.
That sounds like a great course that they have you take.
Yeah, I still haven't taken it. Still not taking this shit yet. It's only 1 credit, and I'm like, I have like cell biology and stuff that kind of fits into this time slot. So guess what I'd rather take? So yeah, I'll probably
something that's actually interesting.
Yeah, right. What I'm dreading to take later is the same class. Actually, it's funny. Dr. Rody teaches this class too, developmental biology. And I was like, oh, that sounds fun. And then he said, yeah, it's like you take anatomy and physiology, molecular genetics, oligos.
Developmental bio is a mix of genetics, anatomy, and evolutionary biology. It's like a insanely difficult field.
He said that one of his slides, one of his PowerPoints for one lecture is over 200 slides.
And that's not to say it's not an interesting field. Like, I've learned a lot. And actually, the paper that I sent you, Drag, earlier, that is technically a developmental bio paper, but it's also more of an, you know, epigenetics and, you know, I lost my train of epigenetics and, I guess just omics. I don't know. I lost what I was going to say.
Yeah. It's, and it's actually directly related to the, to this next exam. So this will help with me comprehending it on a, or I'll say holistic level.
Let's be honest, Drag. You just want to understand things at Tommy's level.
Yeah, it's funny.
Neither of us are look. You got a level. Neither of us are talented. You know,
you're right.
I mean, fuck me. I mean, I had a double major, but you know, I mean, fuck if I know if I actually have talent. You know, I do not have luxurious hair with split ends. You know.
For those of you who don't get the joke, Ronnie called both of us talentless, and it's so like unwarranted and just like
wow.
there's only the only thing you can really do is just accept it. Like it's just funny because like I don't know what to say.
Actually, that reminds me, guys. Could we resolve this question? Is it godly to have long hair or not? Because during that Friday night hangout with Aaron Raw, I was told that it's ungodly to have long hair, but I think there are prominent members of the community with long hair. Do you guys have an answer to that?
Could have sworn Ronnie has long hair. Bruce Shepard has long hair. Raw has lots of hair. Man, there's quite a few people.
I mean, also, and let's not forget this. You know, he also said that it's not manly and that he needed to be a man. Well, is he going to tell true empiricism to be a man? I mean, I think being a bitch is not really a manly characteristic, but that's, you know.
I mean, he's one song away.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, I was just gonna say he's one song away from living the life of Carlos Santana. So,
I mean, a much uglier goblin looking Carlos Santana, but Carlos Santana nonetheless.
I mean, like that's just sad when you have to you just really have to act like this is some kind of, I don't know, fashion show, and you have to act like you have to flaunt more than others. I mean, it's so retarded.
Well, he has to pretend. Like, meanwhile, people are progressing in their life, and just personally, it's like, well, fuck. Like, he has the same arguments he's had for the last 4 years. Like, nothing has actually changed. Him, Nephilim free, and so they can't really keep up. And so the only person who is at least trying to keep up is Tommy. So I think that's probably why some of them are latching on and just kind of circling the wagons when it comes to us criticizing Tommy.
Well, I mean, look at G-Man. He's claiming to have a degree. Like, he has on multiple occasions said he went to Fairleigh Dickinson University and has a degree in nutrition. That's not an available major. Does he not realize that that's easily Googleable information?
Yep. If you guys don't believe us, go look it up right now. Sam and I found it out a few days ago.
It was not even a particularly hard piece of information to find out.
He does not do research on shit. Like the whole Trump thing and saying that there's no more separation of church and state. Like, that was
it's unbelievable, right? Like,
he is
you
lazy.
literally can't believe it.
He's lazy as fuck when it comes to thinking. He's like, okay, I think, therefore, never mind.
Squirrel.
You know,
I think, therefore, squirrel.
Oh, look, a skunk. Let me go over there. Oh, white woman. Fucking.
You know, I bet you he would trust The Onion as a source, like a proper source.
Does anyone want to try that?
Before. He's done that before.
He shared an Onion article and thought it was real?
No, I'm saying I bet you he would think like an Onion, like an article from The Onion, like he would view that as legitimate.
Oh, God.
I meant like he's used a satirical source as serious before.
But yeah, during our debate.
He's used a satirical resource before and tried to use it as if that was legitimate.
How many of y'all can see the inside chat?
I cannot. Well, I
Okay.
probably can, but
I can see it when it's presented.
I'm busy adding macaroni to cheese.
Serious business. You know, if you get good macaroni and cheese going, after it's made, you stir it, and you stir the fuck out of it. Sounds like you're having sex.
Thanks. That's really what I need.
Yeah, buddy of mine told me that.
That was totally necessary. And do you know that blowjobs feel like apple pie?
Now, but Sam,
Well, all right then. Fuck's sake.
Sam, you better make sure you got BNC, man.
BNC?
A brush, nickel, colander. Stupid.
I've literally never heard anyone use that acronym, Wolf.
I'm high,
and
so
I cook a lot.
I got that from Aqua Teen Hunger Force reference.
Well, that's a good show.
Yeah, I
I'll give
like
you
that
credit
show.
for that.
Okay, if y'all can see the outside chat, that's a piece of information I was told today by a source I will not. I was told yesterday, excuse me, by a source I will not reveal.
What is it?
Evidently, I'm a super hacker.
Well, you and Hannah.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is dumb as hell for thinking that.
Yeah, someone brought it to my attention.
Super hacker?
G-Man. Someone brought it to my attention a while back, and someone reminded me because it's actually on his G Plus page.
What is he alleging you for hacking?
It's his computer.
How?
I don't know.
In what context?
I don't know, because he made a comment about it on his page. Let me see if I can go to it.
He's fucking crazy. He's crazy.
He blocked this account. Let me go on my other account.
Is this the account that sounds like Cornholio?
I cannot answer that question.
That's a yes. The best sock ever, aka.
Oh, it is. So it's lots of fun. From what I hear, I hear that. Yeah.
I mean, it's. I hear that it's a really fun sock account to have.
Okay, so here's where someone brought this to my attention. You guys see that?
Oh yeah, I do. There we go.
Yeah.
Hacking
So-
you, like, why would he think that you have the skills to?
I
It's
don't
me, man.
know. I have my wife look up like devices for me like that because someone wanted me to finally get a like a actual mount for my phone when I go live. So I had like her look that up and one
My
of those
mount is
armbands.
a piece of shit. I mean, fuck hell. All right,
Yeah.
so I do have the breadcrumbs on the mac and cheese. I also added ham to it.
That's you know what when you come down to Texas, man, I'll have Mrs. Drag make you her family macaroni and cheese, her baked macaroni and cheese with like chicken breasts and other ingredients I will not mention live. But every time she makes it, people either steal the last half of it, and she makes like one of those huge trays that's almost like a foot and a half long. Someone either steals it, everyone just cleans it out, and we have to end up making another one for us, or people beg her incessantly to make more of it. Every single time.
That's a good skill to have.
Oh yeah, so I keep her around. What the hell? Hold on. Let me see what they're crying about now.
Oh, apparently, apparently,
What? Yeah,
Tommy
come
is still
on, Mother.
harassing scientist Mel.
You high as fuck, son.
No, I'm not. I'm multitasking.
Uh,
I haven't had any marijuana today.
So it's a lot of they're trying to the blood-brain barrier. That's literally what I just heard. Like he can't even fucking pronounce what he's trying. I think he's hopping on the Tommy bandwagon by proposing that autism is caused by some breach of the blood-brain barrier or some sort.
Honestly,
When the fuck?
out.
Which is entirely possible. Well, I mean, they have the brain trust in there. Ronnie, G-Man, Tommy, and Antonio. God.
So I didn't know like if you like did like the standard deviation of IQs, I didn't know it could be a negative. So I learned something. I'm learning.
Yeah.
I'm learning.
Somehow they scored a negative on the IQ test. But which I don't quite know because it's a normalized test. That's not supposed to be mathematically possible, but
Apparently, Drag, the rumor has it that even trying to take the absolute value of it still returns a negative value.
Abad, autism is being displayed. So Abad says sounds like autism is being displayed in that hangout. I disagree. Autistic people on average have higher IQs. So I would have to dispute that. Just statistically, it seems unlikely.
Yeah. Speaking of statistics, we got our first exams back and made some stupid mistakes. Simple shit like, hey, what is the fine lambda for Poisson's distribution? And well, no, I didn't get that one wrong, but there was another part where it asked for the variance, I believe, or something like that. I forgot. Anyway, I gave a standard deviation because I did sigma instead of sigma squared. Yeah, but someone managed to get a 29 on this fucking exam, and I'm thinking to myself, over half the exam is directly from the quiz. The quizzes that we've been getting the last few weeks. 90% of stuff on the quizzes are directly from the homework. Literally, if you do the homework, you cannot fail the test. There's no way. Someone managed to get a 29. So of course, in true Dr. Lee fashion, he he pulled up the statistics for the statistics exam and said that he just looks, he said, there's a problem. Some of you don't come to class, and then some of you wonder why you didn't pass this exam. I made it easy. I made everything integers. I purposely do that. I was like, fuck. But it's Dr. Lee. Just, I don't know. He's my first Chinese instructor, so I'm not sure if they're all that curt, but I like it.
I have a Chinese professor for my math course. He's super chill. And the funny thing is...
Shocking.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of weird. But the funny thing is, like, there's only 4 people in the class, and only 2 people ever show up. Me being one of them.
Really?
And 20% of our grade is due to quizzes. And usually there's like 3 people that show up for the quizzes, but one person just never shows up. And on our first exam that we did, pretty much all of us just like bombed the shit. Just bombed it, but he curved it for us. And it's like, oh, wow, this person who never goes to class for a quiz is just, like, stupid as fuck.
I mean, honestly, I like the concept of public libraries, vast amounts of information about science and philosophy and stuff like that, and databases. Like, school days meant fool days. I couldn't tell you half the mess I learned at school.
Dre, can you do
Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm the one that's clearly on marijuana.
Yeah, I could say that.
Dre, can you do me a favor? Can we do an experiment? Could you ask your prof if sample sizes have to be half the population, and then how polls would run in China?
I am not asking.
Thank you.
Don't tell me it's fucking.
And when you get ejected from when you get expelled from your university and lose your scholarship, I will send you some more money on Patreon.
I will ask him, and I will record his essay. He's probably just gonna look at me and go, "What the fuck?"
So yeah, you have to phrase it as some idiot is claiming this.
I'm going to email Dr. Lee right now, actually.
Because I am not coming to my boss with that shit. He will tell me I'm a fucking idiot.
But Sam, you forgot the most outrageous part of the claim. Apparently, if your sample size is too large, you start to lose accuracy, as though a perfect poll would be 100% of the population. Am I right? I think that's what the second half.
I want to say that's what I want to say that's what Ned had pointed out.
What? Does he not realize that the larger the sample you take, the closer you are? Like, you can just logic this. You don't even have to explain in mathematical terms. Logic. A representative sample is a small subsection. The bigger the subsection, the greater the portion of the whole, the more accurate it will be. Not difficult.
Let me see how to phrase this.
Well, Sam, the only issue with that is some people don't understand what logic is and don't know how to use it. For instance, G-Man thinks the color blue and a blue car are the same thing, basically meaning he doesn't understand like the difference between what something is and a specific example of that something.
So you mean classes and sets versus representatives? Set theory stuff, right?
He doesn't understand that.
Okay. All kidding aside, it's fun to tease people, but wouldn't it be even better to, I don't know, learn these things? And I know for a fact that Drag would be willing to teach anyone who'd want to learn about some of these things.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's Tommy genuinely like wanted to talk about stuff because I had an off-air hot conversation with that guy's Adventis Hermes, Justin. He used to come around, Young Earth Creationist, with him and some Muslim dudes from the UK and a Tien Zulu, and he was combative, but he actually wanted to discuss the topic. So I spent time off air talking to him about it, and it was somewhat productive, and I enjoyed having the conversation. But a lot of these guys, no. Okay, I just emailed Dr. Lee, by the way. He's gonna call me a fucking idiot. I know it's gonna happen, but you know what? It's worth it.
I am amazed that us just fucking around is getting twice as many viewers.
Is that crazy? Dude, I got almost 70 viewers and I was outside walking today.
Well, it's amazing, Drag, that people don't enjoy circle jerks for hangouts. It's kind of odd, isn't it?
Well, it's odd. It's odd when you actually mention, I don't know, substantive topics. that people want to listen. It's crazy when you have actual intelligent people. I mean, Kel Surprise. People want to actually listen.
I mean, when people just aren't, like, oh yeah, Sam, you're so right. I would never question you. Yeah, things go a lot smoother.
I think it really.
Brad, I'm looking at your PowerPoints right now, and it's scaring me.
Oh, this is just one.
How many is the upper bound on that slide thing?
Huh?
How many slides is that?
Oh, like 43, I think. Yeah, 43.
Oh.
Yeah, this is a small one.
Drake,
The
this is going to
slides we
date.
have, look, the slides we have for our biochemistry, they usually hit around 20 or 30. Sometimes we hit 12, though.
Drake, maybe you and Sam can address this. When I was younger, they used to call it Golgi bodies. I see now they're called Golgi apparatus. It's weird.
I think it's interchangeable, but more people are likely to call it the Golgi apparatus.
Yeah. I mean, it's some of those terms are interchangeable, honestly. I'm trying to think of another example to give you.
I haven't thought about that in a while, though. I guess it's been a very long time since I've actually even thought about the Golgi apparatus, because I don't like, this is the thing that Ronnie just doesn't seem to get, is that like the things that he memorized from that nursing book, they're not things that I constantly am reviewing.
Right.
Like I don't really know. Like he has this weird thing where he thinks that these are absolutely essential. And it's like, man, I haven't talked about ATP synthase in a class, like in either a class or in the lab in, I don't know, 6 years, 7 years.
It's not relevant.
I took mole bio when I was a sophomore. So yeah, 7 years ago. So it's like, why does he expect? And I would love to ask him this. Is like, why does he expect that I'm supposed to know whatever obscure piece of trivia that he knows?
Actually, I think just real quick. I think the only time I remember learning about ATP synthase was just in like a basic biology course, like at junior college.
Yeah.
I mean, but beyond that, I mean, it's not really like some unique thing in the topic of biology. I mean, we moved right after that. I mean, it's really nothing.
And never mind the fact that I didn't get anything wrong.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what if I started mentioning Shine-Dalgarno sequences? Like I can pick anything. Like I can literally pick anything out of this entire PowerPoint that's obscure, right?
What is the Shine-Dalgarno sequence? I do actually know this one.
Oh, I don't fucking know.
Fuck you. I win. Now I'm going to talk about this for 4 years.
I know it's found in prokaryotes. I think it's part of the promoter region.
No, it's not. It's a translation initiation site in prokaryotes. I think bacteria in specific.
Okay, because I need to. I'm constructing my.
How does it feel to know how superior I am?
I
Amazing, Sam. Keep it up.
I have to
Well, see, the Jews are the master race. They have the highest IQ, so it's natural that they dominate the world and shit.
I know. And what's worse is they charge you to tell you that they're more superior than you.
So Sam and Drake, this reminds me. I told you guys offline. I read a book on epigenetics. I can talk about. I think there are two major epigenetic markers. The methyl group on cytosine 5 and the acetyl groups on the histones. But I would never ever join a hangout and talk to a scientist and claim that I knew more than she did, or posit some mechanism for neo-Lamarckism. I don't understand how these guys do that. And having said
they're
that,
only saying that there's two major epigenetic
that's my understanding.
markers?
No, two. How do I put it? Chemical. How do I put it? I'm not saying it correctly. See, that's the point. I would never claim I know anything about epigenetics. I wouldn't go to a hangout claiming I did. But at the same time, I'd be happy to take a test against any of these guys on epigenetics. These people that claim they know more than scientists with multiple degrees.
Hey, let's invite Tommy Hall. Oh wait, we already did.
I'm actually curious.
How many times have I asked Tommy what is epigenetics?
And
what does he say? I don't need to know what it is.
Isn't it kind of like how the environment influences genetics or something like that?
He literally said that. What a retard.
Some epigenetic transitions are genetically programmed. See development. Like the pattern, like body patterning is mediated via gene expression and epigenetics. It's like that's almost entirely genetically determined, right? There's a reason why, why our body plan is so consistent. Funny how that works.
So Sam, they gave 3 major examples. They talked about twin studies and how twins growing up in identical environments. They talked about the Dutch hunger winter with Audrey Hepburn, and then they talked about how childhood trauma like abuse. They mentioned those are like 3 major classes where epigenetics can manifest itself. Is that broadly speaking?
So that's transgenerational epigenetics. Listen, like keep it in your pants.
So
Wolf just popped a
fucking stiffy
boner. Yeah.
In an instant, I was just thinking about getting the draws from Blair White.
Yeah. So the idea is that what happens to, let's say, your parental generation can come down to like the F3? No, yeah, F3 generation, and that whatever that parental generation has happened to them would have an influence.
That would be 4 generations.
It would be 4. So it'd be P1, then F1, then F2, then F3.
Yeah, unless my basic genetics is off.
Oh no, P0, then F1, F2, F3. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. See.
Wait,
It's
not F0.
Zero? No. We say parental 0, and then you can do. Yeah.
I meant F0 being the first.
Right.
Because I don't know. I index things like a computer scientist. So whenever you tell me something is the first thing, I'm like, oh, so it's rank 0.
It's F0. It's always F0.
It's always not. Yeah, no, I'm kidding.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm asking just because I don't remember.
My physics professor had a huge issue with that. Like,
really?
He would say F0, he would lose his fucking shit. But like, no, it's not F0. You fucking. It's like it's F0. They made a big deal out of that. I'm like, fucking hell.
All I remember about like certain genetic codes is like there was this one thing about a clock chain in like mice and fruit flies that regulates like their sleeping patterns and feeding patterns.
Dude, like get some Doritos and watch a Netflix documentary. Good Lord.
Well, it's been a while. Shit.
So hold on. I think it's P1, then F1. So I got it. I had to look that up too. Hold on. It's an F1.
Well, now you can hold that over me for 4 years. Like, God, if we hold shit over each other for 4 years, man, that's just it's too much time.
How do you learn anything like that, though? How do you progress? Like, is it like taking pocket shots at the professor? Like, how would that actually like play out in a classroom? I'm curious.
Well, we can ask Drew's girlfriend how his life progresses, right? Surely she would have some insight. I'm gonna exit for a bit because my phone is pretty low on power, and I don't want to eat while in a hangout because I just completed my mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese.
We're gonna see if it turns out. Well, I'll take the first bite and see if it turned out well.
Did you put chili mac on it? If you didn't, you're gonna have a situation.
Good. Well, I made my own cheese sauce. I took a bechamel and then added aged cheddar, Monterey Jack, and Parmesan to it.
Okay.
And then it has a breadcrumb.
No more binging with Babish for you. That's enough.
Oh, that sounds
no
like
more
shit. That sounds like a good combination. That's like 3 cheese.
How dare
nice.
you? Binging with Babish always helps.
Steve looks like you've been watching him way too much. It's like I have a gorgonzola here.
Hey man, don't hate. The food's delicious.
Sounds
All right,
like
later.
All right, later. Yeah.
Adrag, curiosity. Who's the author of your molecular cell course?
Author of the book?
Yeah.
Peter J. Russell.
Okay. Trying to figure out what fucking book my school uses for cell biology that I'm taking next semester.
You should be able to go to the Barnes and Noble's website for your college, and then put in the course number and name, and it should tell you. Because that's what I typically do, and I try to find the edition after, the edition before whatever one that they use it now. Only difference it'll be is like
the issue is our college also has cell biology.
Is he breaking up for anybody else?
Yeah, you're breaking up.
You are indeed breaking up. I suggest a refresh post haste.
Okay.
This looks interesting.
Yeah, say something mutable.
What's up?
There we go. Much better,
Excellent.
man. Much better.
Now.
Yeah, this happens sometimes. Okay.
PowerPoint.
This is what I need.
So is Tommy still being a power bottom and True's hangout?
Probably. Let's see. Oh shit! When did somebody say that he wanted a Lincoln hangout? I always get Max in here. Hank. I can never. Oh, look, I'm just gonna sing you shit. On Facebook.
I was gonna let you know, but then I was all like, "This is Drag's hangout, so let that nigga do it."
See, I'm looking through a PowerPoint.
Like you the one in charge, not me.
If it's cool people, let them in. Y'all know the cool people.
All right.
There we go. I always get Max in there.
Tommy's one of the cool cats.
No, he can come in though because he's already invited. Everything good in that? Yeah. So wow, there's like almost 40 people watching. So yeah. So G-Man decided he wanted to go on a rant about how dangerous chemotherapy is, and of course he's over there fucking. Wait, Shrew just said reishi mushrooms help shrink tumors. Did he mention a study, or did he was just like, well, my grandma says so. So I don't. Come on, guys, talk science. More of what Arn Ra was talking about with the Hovind debate. What did he say? I didn't watch it.
I'm just really curious how he finds so much room in his ass to fit all that stupid nonsense and he pulls it out.
You know, Max, it's kind of like an abyss. There doesn't seem to be an end to the amount of stupidity one can fit in there.
Look, through God, anything is possible. Okay? Don't question it.
That is fair. It is a fair point.
How you been, Max?
I've been doing well. Just been in school, working on getting that BEd to teach English and social studies and stuff. Career stuff.
Yeah.
Actually making progress with his life. How dare you?
How dare I? I should be arguing.
I'm a junior in college, and I still need a year to graduate. Fuck.
I've just been working left and right.
I really should have just taken the easy route and went to community college for 2 years, picked up a trade, and then just started earning money.
Yeah, that is honestly the route I decided to go with. And honestly, when it comes to teaching, honestly, I thought about that and I decided, fuck it, I'll just do stand-up comedy. That way I could be as unorthodox as fuck and hope people can learn my lessons.
How well has that been working for you, Wolf?
It's still in the process.
Okay.
You have to stay somewhat sober. You can't be like Dave Chappelle and show up high. Like, you have to be successful first.
But being high is what makes the process fun.
I'm not even gonna be high. Maybe I might be a little buzzed just to relax myself.
Oh, okay. What? So, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, in my experience, the comedians I like the most tend to be not the ones who are self-deprecating. A lot of comedians I find tend to be self-deprecating. Look at how my life is. Like the ones who do that, I don't see any joy in it. If you're not going to be happy, then why should I care about your life? Dave Chappelle, on the other hand, he takes himself so lightly. It's just impossible not to laugh.
I've never been good at self-deprecation.
I mean, yeah, and also here's the thing. I've like a lot of things. I really think I embody like the autodidact spirit, right? Because I've actually been studying like irony and satire and certain forms of it, and I've sort of been adhering to that method when it comes to employing material on my channel now. I've sort of been invoking more, like, say, political satire, and I've been recently using that methodology to criticize the alt-right. I've sort of utilized the whole meme about white genocide as a tool against them. Let's see. I've made videos like my final solution for Trump supporters, things of that nature. And the Black Panther movie. I mean, that was fun. Like, I had a whole month dedicated to that kind of stuff because I didn't have a lot of videos critiquing the alt-right and race realism and all these things, and it was actually kind of fun.
Okay.
And now I want to make the world my stage.
Well, if you think that's the direction to go in, man, hey, hats off to you.
Have you actually thought of trying to make? Have you had any gigs like with an actual stage though?
That's just an aspiration right now. I haven't sought a venue yet. I'm still working on my material. I gotta get my craft up.
No worries.
Okay, I'm trying to see what Kenny was saying that the science stuff that Aaron Raw was talking about. It was probably like phylogeny or something. I didn't watch it. I'm not gonna lie.
Neither did I, honestly. Like, Kent Hovind's points have been disproven by pretty much everyone in the atheist community for quite a while. Actually, not even the atheist community, like the whole anti-creationist community. Like, that was a big thing in YouTube for like 10 years.
Right. That's he really didn't change. If he changed something, if he has something new, I'd be interested. But he relies on that same kind of folksy, let me just talk to you like, you're my long lost cousin bullshit, that it's not scientific, but he wants to pass it off as reliable information that it just so happens to have a scientific backing. No, it's not.
I mean, he's the granddad of the creationist movement. Am I right?
Yeah.
Is
There's not really, no. If you want to look at the granddaddy of the creationist movement, it was actually started off, if memory recalls, by a geologist who was part of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. The Seventh-day Adventists were one of the few Christian groups who thought the world was 6,000 years old at the time. Most fundamentalists, and by fundamentalists I mean the Calvinists out of Westminster Seminary, who had this whole go back to the fundamentals of the faith attitude. Even they were gap creationists or day-age creationists, people who thought that denied evolution, but thought that the world was old and tried to account for the geological data through that. But it was this geologist who, I'll see if I can Google his name really quick, who reintroduced and made it Seventh-day creationism rather respectable among the creationist community.
And there, folks, is a little bit of creation history for you.
Oh, his name was George McCready Price. He was actually a Canadian, so you're welcome.
Nice. Well, we also got Seth Rogen, so I think that's something.
Wait, Seth Rogen's Canadian?
Yeah. What the fuck?
What? Oh, Seth Rogen. Oh, I thought you meant Joe Rogan. My bad.
The good Rogan or the bad Rogan?
The one who made Sasha's Party. That guy.
Sausage Party. Yeah. I saw that was just, I don't know how to feel about that. Like, a part of me wanted to go watch hentai, another part of me just felt dirty.
That shit was funny as hell. I like that shit.
Oh yeah, he was actually born in Vancouver. You're right. Seth Rogen is Canadian.
I watched that shit on my brother. That was the funniest. That was the funniest bit of religious satire I ever seen in a long time.
That it was.
I watched it with my wife, and I didn't know how to feel.
Wait, are we talking about? I didn't watch Sausage Party, so I can say one way or another.
It was a religious satire, but there's crudeness, and then there's, oh my goodness, like the what is it? The Colossus were like fucking the bagels or something like that. I don't know. It was just they had a food orgy at the end of it.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to see that movie.
That was the silliest shit I ever seen in my life.
I say I don't know how to feel about that. It's like, you know what? I give up. I'm
I
done.
love that shit. I loved every minute of it.
I've never been a stoner, but I'm guessing if I saw that movie, I'd be like, yeah, I'm just never smoking weed again, ever.
Yeah, like that was what a lot of religious moderates thought about it. Like, there's someone on Discord by the name of Danny. He's sort of like you in that he's a teacher, very academic wise. He said he saw the movie. He said he almost left. He felt so much revulsion towards it.
Well, I mean, you know,
I'm not opposed to crude or black humor. It just seems rather juvenile.
there's a point where it's. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I think that would be a movie a 7th grader would come up with, like just that idea.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of one of the reasons why I never caught on to was that TV show People Like the Dragons and shit. Game of Thrones. Like I love Restless as much as any other man, probably even more. But like every other scene, I'm like, come on, just really, just okay, now it's incest. That's cool, man. They're just titties and incest and swords. Oh, someone died. It's a white dude who really needs a tan.
Yeah, that's not really. Yeah, that doesn't really. Yeah, that's not really, catching up with black people. The Game of Thrones. Very lacking.
Speaking of Game of Thrones,
I like Peter Dinklage, but that's pretty much like all of it.
Did you guys see the Game of Thrones video Darwin's Greatest Hits put up? That was awesome.
Yeah, he sent me a message before he uploaded it, so I was like, oh wow.
I was just happy to be included.
Someone said I looked through it. Someone said I was in there. I was like, I didn't see me.
Oh, you were. You were actually one of the first people in the profile in the video.
As he's going through the intro.
Yeah. Just play it, and I'll show you where you are.
I must have missed it. I was like, someone said I was in there. I was like, okay.
Okay. Sam's in there for like all of it. Like
what am I in?
Oh, the Darwin's Greatest Hits.
Oh, I was gonna say your mama, but
Are we stealing Ocean's jokes?
No, I'm just fucking around. Apparently, Ocean is over your mama.
There you are.
Jokes.
Oh, that was it.
Yeah.
What?
Everyone like. Yeah, I mean. Yeah. Did you?
I see talking shit, Susan.
Well, I do have to say that one thing that I find hilarious is that we have twice as many viewers as Bring It Evolutionist. Does anyone else find that really funny?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like he doesn't say, like, people get bored after listening to him. Like, it's really. He's
Drag, you can't say that. You're not talented enough.
That's true. I wish I had as much talent as Ronnie. Look, you guys keep laughing about DNA in water. I asked G-Man whether DNA degraded in water. He said he didn't know. This was right after he said Ronnie was right about the whole thing. I was like, so wait. Yeah, like, it's sad.
I would pay G-Man $100 without going on Google and telling me what DNA stands for.
I wonder if he could.
Did you shave your head?
Yes.
Looks nice.
I got a very expensive haircut.
You look like CeeLo with a goatee.
Oh God.
No, I'm kidding. I'm fucking with you. But
give me a break. He's got that Chris Brown haircut.
I'm trying to think of just like the weirdest shit I can say, but I don't. My references are not good.
So damn right.
Yeah.
Just say Anthony Anderson. That's what my wife went to. I was like, wow, okay.
That must have hurt. Anthony Anderson, not a handsome man.
No, he's not.
Successful.
He's funny, but it's like Anthony. Wow, okay. Well,
he a fat motherfucker, man. He is not pretty. God don't like ugly, and he an ugly motherfucker. Let me tell you something right now.
You kind of. I was gonna say you look like a heavier version of Common.
Yeah.
I'm his fat cousin, Average.
Someone make that meme. That is
That is the meme.
And I apologize for the running water. I have to do dishes after having made my delicious meal.
This is why we have more views than Ronnie.
Dude, that is fucking hysterical. You won.
Have the internet. It is yours. You've won.
I can't. Yeah, Drag, I'm going to tell you, I can't comment on your haircut and goatee now because I can't think of anything that remotely approaches that in hilarity.
You can just use that. I gave you permission. Go ahead and use that.
Average. Common's brother average.
What's going on, Haunted Shore?
Nothing.
But evidently, like, I do find it, I do have to say, like, it is really interesting because I've made an offer to Tommy where let's go through some peer-reviewed papers of your choice. And he refuses to.
It's telling.
Does
very
that surprise
telling.
you? Does that surprise you, Sam?
No, not at all.
I was hoping you'd say that.
No, Tommy is too predictable, I will say. Like it's not even it's almost not fun. But I do find it really interesting because Tommy says, you don't know my perspective, you don't listen. And I think, again, it's him projecting because he doesn't know how to listen. Because I know his perspective is that tumors are not the cause, it's unhealthy lifestyle and toxins, except when it's not and it's genetic. And that tumors are not the enemy and that acidic microenvironments cause cancer. And hypoxic conditions cause cancer and all of these things. And it's quite bizarre. And tumors feast on fat, except they don't, but they do. And I don't know. He doesn't seem to have a coherent view on what cancer is.
Well, he's gone back to cancer is just a collection of toxins. He made that statement earlier in the G-Man hangout. It's like, oh, well, said it wasn't that. Now he's going back to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's so bizarre because when you try to, I mean, the reality is that we have a definition for cancer, and we know that cancer has various causes, and the chief among them is somatic mutation. We know this, right? Like, there's a reason why when we sequence tumors, they have common signatures for genes that we know contribute to the development of cancer. Like, it's as if he thinks that that's just all an accident,
Have you guys ever heard of Jim Fixx?
Who?
Jim Fixx, Fixx. He was an author in the 70s who kickstarted this health and fitness craze in the United States. He wrote books revolving around running and jogging. And he lived what appeared to be this very active and healthy lifestyle. Fucker died at age 52. And they went to the autopsy report, and it was, and he died of a heart attack. What happened was a physiologist published an inventory of the risk factors that contributed to his death. And apparently the heart that he was his genetics were actually exposed to having a heart attack. In essence, the guy lived one of the healthiest lifestyles ever, and yet his genes still kicked his ass, and because he inherited terrible traits that predisposed him to a heart attack. These instances happen.
And this isn't to dismiss that lifestyle factors can contribute, but it may be the case, that, for instance, I don't think anyone in my family has ever been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Not that I know of. And Draga's, he's stated that a number of members of his family have. Quite a few. I'm not incorrect on that one, right?
Yeah, there's a few. Not as much as cancer, but there's a few.
But the point would be is I'm just going to take a stab in the dark here. I'm going to take a wild guess and say that I don't have a genetic predisposition in the same way Drag would.
Or me.
I mean, we know what we can predict given people's medical history. I mean, that's the whole purpose of doing that whole intake assessment when you go and see a new physician, and they make sure, like, hey, you know, we need to just double check and make sure, and they go through your family history again, and from that we gain valuable information to have these statistical models to show, hey, you know what, because of your family history, you're more likely, you know, predisposed to X, Y, and Z. And
it is, and I mean, it's like as if they don't think that genome-wide association studies exist. You know?
And I don't know. It's really hard to say what, because he'll say, yeah, I know all that stuff. But then when you talk to him, it's like all that stuff disappears. Like I kind of get the feeling that that's what happens.
And type 2 diabetes is the reason I'm bringing this up is because, Drag, you have a genetic predisposition. But you can mediate the effects, and I apologize, I'm about to hit the disposal. Like you can mediate, or not mediate. You can
Mitigate.
Mitigate. Fucking hell. You can mitigate the effects via lifestyle. So it's not one or the other, you know. And this is the reality that Tommy just seems to gloss over his head, and it's biologically a fascinating question. You know, how do we model this? How do we know? Because there's a huge paper out of Jonathan Pritchard's lab. It was basically a theory paper that it basically said that the way that we understand heritability is completely wrong. And it's just because when we look at the statistics, it's just clear that the way that we were thinking about it is wrong. And that's interesting. That's interesting that we are constantly modifying our understanding, whereas, I mean, honestly, has anything changed about the understanding from creation? I mean, it's just been God did it, at least for this group.
And it's not even God did it in this way, but maybe he did it in this other way. It's definitely this one way.
And it's funny to me because I find it to be a hysterically limiting way of viewing God. You know, if God is all powerful, he could have acted circuitously using evolution. Like, there's nothing incoherent there. There's nothing actually even terribly surprising about that. You know, whether or not it's coherent with theology or, you know, how it fits into all of that, that's not a discussion I'm prepared to have, nor one I'm particularly interested. No offense, Max. But the point being is, if your God is so powerful, why would he limit himself in such ways? And that's a really strange thing to me that they have. And it's because that they are so far up their own asses that they can't consider another viewpoint.
Yeah, they have to have it this way. I think Nephilim Free has said as much. So if young Earth creationism isn't true, then he wouldn't have a Christian faith. And I'm like, why would you hang your faith on this book depicting certain, I guess, scientific facts a particular way? Like, this Bible isn't a science book, so why would you expect it to read like one?
Well, I mean, he's functionally retarded, right?
I think from what I've heard, it's that if evolution is true, then it means that special creation is negated, which kind of throws the whole Genesis story out the window.
I mean, even still, why not just old Earth creationism? Like, Adam and Eve were created, but the Earth isn't only 6,000 years old, contrary to what modern geology says. Even if we're granting that, like, why choose the most radical of all the creationist models?
Well, it's odd to me that they will, they're only willing to accept people who fit within their doctrinal limits, right? And so if you're not part of that tribe of young Earth creationists, because you'll hear G-Man talk about, he'll go after people for his weird health food stuff because it's us, right? But when has he gone after flat earthers?
Actually, he did. He actually went up against Arcane Logos, I believe, a while ago, and then he got so upset that he ended up storming out after they showed that the Bible teaches a flat Earth. It was kind of funny.
But he's nowhere near as motivated, right?
Fair
And
enough.
it's all tribal stuff, right? Like even
Yeah.
the way that he addresses the Black Power Rangers is completely tribal. Because like he's obsessed with them. Honestly, who gives a fuck about Black Hebrew Israelites?
I don't like that. Like they're just clowns. I mean, they appeal to like the lowest common denominator in urban areas. Like they really have barely hardly any influence.
Well, the issue and I had to learn this because I just thought that they were dudes just yelling on the street. Evidently, they're trying to infect different households. The people who are just regular ass Christians, folks having a 9 to 5, they go to church, just regular folks. And they're trying to get them to adopt some of this like helter skelter like mentality, and it's some of it's absolutely crazy. Like they are actually trying to recruit people, and so supposedly what they do is that they'll get like the husband on board with this shit, and then they'll say, oh no, that's okay, if your wife is not with it, it's not a big deal. And then they'll flip the script later and go, yeah, if you want to stay with us and be a part of this, your wife's going to have to kind of submit to this stuff. And from what I understand, I could be wrong, the women end up losing a lot of rights and a lot of freedoms if they, agree to their nonsense. And so, of course, women are like, fuck that, not doing that. And so they'll encourage the husband to leave the wife and leave his family. And so they're breaking apart families that way. And so I believe G-Con, these other guys are seeing that happen, and they're trying to stop that. And so that's kind of what's motivating them to do that. And the issue with G-Man came is when some of these guys were speaking about, somebody in Shield Squad's wife, and this guy made a rap and made a music video and everything, and then put pictures of this guy's wife up there talking shit about his wife. And I'm like, oh man, like she didn't do shit. But his wife is white, so
it's also fucking diss raps. Like, what are we? Like, what is this? Like, is this 8 Mile now? Like, what the fuck?
I guess. Like, I'm not sure how that's helpful, but I said, you know what? If they enjoy it, I love it, right? But that's. But I'm not sure how G-Man plays a big role in that though, because it's like you just make shit worse.
I mean, in this street job, jibbity jabber, I'm all like, son, you can't rap worth a damn, man.
I honestly want to debate Black Hebrew Israelites now just to improve my rap skills.
You could. They'll make a diss rap because someone's like, there's somebody on Facebook that's been sending me like videos of the Black Hebrew Israelites because now they know of me. So they've been making videos talking about me. I think it's funny as hell. Yeah. This atheist Dragnet. They know this G-Man's nemesis. I was like, did they just call me his nemesis? I think one of them said like arch enemy or some shit like that. I was like, damn. Is it that serious?
I find it hilarious that G-Man got so upset that he farted.
What?
Yes. Oh, you didn't hear. I'll play it. Not a big deal. I'll find it.
Please,
Of course you have that timestamp.
Fuck. I'm sorry. All right. Hold on. Too many fucking windows. All right, Jackie, go to Cogito and get the link. See, when I want shit to come up on the screen, it doesn't. Now it comes up on this fucking screen.
Jackie, I saw your text. Thank you. We shall see. I need if she has a Florence Nightingale thing going on, I do need someone to nurture me back to health from my surgery.
Let me see. I think it was like 10:45.
I can use some Nightingale shit right now.
Upload.
I don't even know what that means. Are you infirm?
I just got back from San Diego.
Oh, it's a terrible city. There's a douchebag who lives there.
No, the people in San Diego are
I'm making fun of myself, Jackie.
I know. I check. Okay, never mind.
What's up, Pseudo Chicken?
Hey, Wolf.
But I do. Yeah, Drag. Also, Drag, did you get a chance to look at that paper I linked you?
I read a little bit of it that night. I still need to look over it some more, but I want to finish this PowerPoint before I go through that, so I have a better understanding.
It's a pretty interesting concept, right?
Oh yeah, well shit, half the shit that you were mentioning with the transcriptional read-through was, man. I'm still tripping out about that because the look on Dr. Rhodey's face, because he was like, "What?" Because I don't think that I guess he thought that I misspoke, and I was like, "No, this is what could happen," because he sure as hell asked for a paper right after I said it. It's like, oh okay.
Well, I mean, that paper. Did you tell him it's forthcoming?
Yeah, I told him it's in the works. Not yet. So he said, okay, Oh,
Did
I
you
found
like
it.
your prop in class?
Hey, Pseudo, we were talking about your best friend G-Con.
Pseudo knows G-Con?
Yeah.
Not really. It's Wolf's cousin. It's okay.
Okay, so G-Man
Your
got
best
so
friend.
upset with the he's now refocused, but he was still over here about to cry. This dude got so upset against his wall, he actually farted, and he tried to cover it up with his mouth, like to pretend like he was coughing. And you'll hear the sound,
but he didn't cough. Like you can't cover it up when you don't. He's so inept. Is there something in life that he's actually good at?
Walking across the street. He showed me how to.
He runs a mean marathon, from what I've heard.
No, he doesn't. He runs a terrible marathon.
Damn. If there's one thing that G-Man's good at, it's being inept. That's his superpower.
I looked. So if you go to Runner's World, they have calculators that tell you based on your marathon time what percentile in all marathon finishers you come in. If you put in G-Man's best time, and you put in his age, which you can find from his best time, because he doxed himself because he's an idiot. If you put that in, he falls for his age in the 49th percentile, which means that he's below average.
Oh, fuck.
All right.
Poor Gary.
Y'all ready for it?
For the Christians that are watching this, we already know that we're supposed to forgive those who sin against us. If the Hebrew Israelites keep bringing up this sin, it's going to show that they're not practicing the teachings of Christ. If you want your sins forgiven, then you have to forgive those who sin against you. And I knew eventually I was going to have to get on here and do this. It was just a matter of time. I already knew I was going to have to do this. It doesn't matter if somebody's saying I'm stealing a safe on YouTube.
What wall is this?
That, and the other. At the end of the day, I know I'm supposed to forgive them. It's just how it is as a Christian in Christianity. It doesn't mean I have to be stupid and trust that person anymore, though. I want to let you know that. Okay, so.
He does realize he didn't. Wait, was this live or did he actually record
it was
this?
live. It was
oh,
live.
okay. Because if it wasn't, I'd just say just re-upload it, or make another, or make a different.
Do you think that G-Man has the video editing skills to pull this off?
I was about to ask that. Like, has he ever edited a video before?
Not well.
Because I mean, it might be obvious I don't watch a whole lot of his content, so I was just wondering. Because it'd be easy to remove, I think.
Yeah, I mean, someone put the
I agree. I agree. We need to start paying for this shit.
And is this like, is that like just some random street that he's yelling at, or?
I think he's at a park, I believe. Let me see. I want to say he's at a park.
No. He's at parking lot. I remember this video.
Parking lot? Let me see.
Like, just imagine walking by this with no context.
All right, I'm going to switch to my computer.
Okay, guys, give me a second here. I
Moose
got a lot of ads popping up on this, and there's some things on here I better do before I get started.
Are you watching him part again?
Not disturbed. There we go.
I'm trying to see where he says that he's located at.
All right. So there's a lot of things I need to talk about here. First and foremost, hello everyone. Welcome to another edition of Preaching to the Choir Ministries.
Does he add that intentionally?
Yes. Community and get this out the way right now.
Okay, because
you're all gonna look at me as a liar because I said that I was taking a break, and you're gonna go to your community and say, "G-Man, why?" Because he says he's gonna take a break. Well, here's the thing: I don't do things when I want to do them. when I feel like the Lord wants me to do something, I'm going to do it.
So he told everyone he was going to take a break, and so he decided to break that, and then just say, "Oh well, no, I'm technically not lying. The Lord told me to not take a break anymore, so it's technically not lying."
Wait, can I just say something? I love how God makes it look like G-Man is
You're breaking
in
up.
heaven. And what? Oh wait, am I
Say it
breaking
again.
up?
Say it again.
Oh, I like how God. I really want to believe God told him to do this because that would mean God is intentionally trying to make G-Man look like an idiot.
Like, he looks fucking crazy in this one scene.
Max, that's all part of God's plan.
That it is. Right.
I wonder if G-Man knows that.
Well, look at that look. That's the look of confidence. The voices in my head tell me to do things. That's that look.
No, that it's part of God's plan for him to look like an idiot.
Yes. He's a fool for God.
I think that's proof that God is an atheist.
Does he ever not wear hats?
He wears a hat because he's balding.
No, okay.
Yeah.
That,
I mean, wearing it makes it more obvious that he's bald, but okay.
If he uses the puffy paint on his forehead, it's probably hard to wash off. This way he can just change hats.
He a wide nose having motherfucker.
Thank you, Wolf.
I think that some things need to be clarified, fixed, and said on here because I've been paying attention to a lot of things that's been going on on YouTube. Not everything, but a lot. Mainly because people keep calling me and leaving me text messages, and trust me, there's a lot of people doing it. And before I even say anything,
My wife sent him a nice text message to take care of himself.
Messages asked me not to quit YouTube.
She did not say that though.
I like to thank everybody who dropped me those scriptures and helped me with some of the hurt that I was going through.
He wasn't butthurt
It went
though.
a long way.
He was not butthurt. Just want to point that out.
Well,
Is there somebody to the right of him?
He was going through emotional damage right now at that time.
He's staring at somebody.
No, there shouldn't be anyone out there because I think this is a video where he was crying.
I'm gonna lay this SOG and Shield Squad stuff to bed tonight. I'm going to prove several things tonight. And the very first thing I'm going to prove here on the internet once and for all is that I'm not really afraid of nobody here on the internet. and when I make a claim on here, I can back up my claim. So this is what's going to happen. I'm going to be calling out the Soldiers of God SOG led by Faithful to God. And by the way, I don't expect them to show up. Okay, and I'm also going to be calling out the Shield Squad led by G Consciousness and Vocab Malone because there are. See, here's the thing. Yeah, I'm not active making videos and everything and whatnot, but that changes as of today.
You're not active making
I know that when I'm
videos.
quiet, these wonderful, brave Christians love talking behind my back. I got Christian anarchists making a video saying that I'm only doing this for views and subscribers. I got Faithful to God texting me in private telling me that I'm not a Christian and all this other stuff. So I'm like,
Wait,
this is
stop.
what's gonna happen, guys.
I want to bask in the irony of G-Man being angry that other people consider him not a true Christian.
Right? As much as he says it.
Everybody's angry with me. That must mean I'm doing something right?
Exactly.
Sorry, I had to go grab a bottle of water for this.
Don't worry.
Well,
I'm trying to find the one where he was crying. I'm such a bad person. Hey, he put it up on the internet. Let's see. So
I think it was before or after he said, "Guys, I'm done."
Guys, I'm done.
He seemed pretty sad in the video he made where he announced he's leaving. I don't know if that's what you're thinking.
Yeah, it's probably "Guys, I'm done." Yeah, I think this is it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Hello, everyone.
He's been crying. No. So I couldn't figure out why he lost his voice and why he wouldn't exactly say why. So I talked to G-Con about this. He had been yelling at them on the phone for over an hour.
That's what my guess was.
Yes, he had been yelling at them. That's why he lost his voice. And so now he's a victim and people need to feel sorry for him.
Poor baby.
Yeah.
I'll say it again. God's plan.
On the previous hangout that I did, but I got some correction from a real friend.
Real friend.
I obviously listened to a lot of the comments that was left to me in the live chat of the last video that I did from Sister Mary Bennett, Sister Faith Lane, Darcel, I think her name is, and a couple of other people. And I just recently got off the phone with Sister Cherry. Guys,
a lot of vaginas in there.
A lot of you know I don't talk about my personal life here online.
Pause it for a moment, Greg.
What?
Really? Really?
Does not talk about personal life.
Yeah, because
Then how
that's
do
why
we know-
everyone does.
Then how
that's why
did
no-
he manage to dox himself all over the internet if he does not talk about his personal life?
I'm
on
just
the
gonna
internet?
be.
Well, you know where
no,
he
hold on.
works.
I just gotta be honest. Like, G-Man, this is some real effeminate shit right here. Like, I don't know why the hell did you keep this up. Like, this makes you look like a complete bitch. Like, why, dude? Why?
Yeah, I'm just gonna quote. I just want to quote the very famous scientist Rick Sanchez here. Ooh, wow, gay.
That's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
So wait, so how long? So he's saying here
There
that
we
he was
go.
going to leave. How long did he stay away?
Let's see.
6
That's
hours.
for G-Man.
So this was 2 weeks ago, and then he will upload this the next day, and then this is the one where he said he does things on God's time. Okay. And then he says that he's going to come back. I think this is when he's going to come back on the 12th or something. I'm not sure why he played this fat guy. Okay. The 12th. Okay, so March 12th is when he's supposed to come back. All right. So
Oh,
as
really?
we see, 4 days ago, 4 days ago, 3 days ago, 3 days ago, 2 days ago, 2 days ago, 1 day ago, 1 day ago, 1 day ago, 1 day, 8 hours ago, and now he's on True Empiricism's channel. So, yeah,
He was offline for 8 fucking hours.
he couldn't help it. He couldn't help himself. There we go. There's some tears. Actually, let me get a screenshot. There we go. That later. Okay. Get that screenshot. Get this screenshot here. And this screenshot here. So I'm pretty sure I can do
Okay, Wolf's got the giggles.
So I think we can do something here. Like a Match.com thing going on.
Oh
I don't know.
God! Why would you do that?
No, I'm
Simon,
just
shut the fuck up.
I'm just throwing out ideas to folks, you know. I have those picks if anybody wants them. So
Oh my god.
I'm gonna drink to his
Message
misery.
to Z-Man and Blind Israelites (parentheses Negroes) by Hebrews in the Hood.
What the fuck is this?
Hebrews in-
What was that?
Yes, yes, I hope everybody in good health. It's your brother, Mikael Ben Yisrael.
I remember this guy.
This dude is so boring. He could put a glass eye to sleep. Okay.
Can we just fast forward to the point where he says we was kings and shit?
Y'all know.
Oh man, what have we done? What have
We
I done?
was kings.
Yeah, Max, it's pronounced Kangs and shit.
Kings and shit.
Gangs and shit.
Because they Oklahoma City, they thought they had the biggest auto show. Chicago got the biggest auto show.
Hey, we be presidents, bitch.
So I'm about to head down there and check out the auto show, right?
Fascinating.
To address all the stuff that's been going on since yesterday. I didn't see it yesterday, but I got the notifications this morning.
And failure to fap.
Y'all know that. That's making
Y'all know that.
attacking us black folks. Shalom, Sister Ruth, that are not
What?
that don't
Did
subscribe.
you just say Sister Rue?
Yeah.
Like a kangaroo?
Black and all that.
I guess.
Actually accept
Well, I don't think he's referring to atheism is unstoppable there.
He high as fuck already.
Attack us, the Shenanigans Squad.
His eyes look mad
And,
Japanese.
the other one,
Let me find this other dude.
Absolutely.
Hold on. Let me find this other dude. That someone
He was
sent something to me this morning. They sent the shit to me this morning. Where is it? Let me find it. Oh yeah, this is when they're talking about me. Here we go. Yeah, so if you look at my history, oh shit, you'll notice that I listen to a lot of music in between my sessions of watching G-Man cry.
Migos, Ti, some girls' day. Is that like K-pop?
It is.
to K-pop?
Okay.
My wife listens to K-pop, and I saw this because there's a commercial where they're singing this song, and I was looking for this, like the original song, and this popped up, and I thought they were paying an homage to Anita Ward, and no, they're not. It's not even close. I was actually offended just a little bit. So
Yeah, that kind of jumps out in that list there.
yeah, K-pop's not too bad. Okay, hold on. I'll wait till the beginning. Yeah, this is what I got sent this morning.
Special salutations to brothers that are sincerely teaching this word. I just want to do this video, man, real quick. Try not to make it long, but when you're dealing with the Shield Squad, they give you so much material, man. It's hard to pick and choose which one you're going to use. You're not, but you know, these guys have reached the all-time low. All right, this guy just went ahead and reached out to an atheist to condemn another Christian, and it's unbelievable, man.
Mush mouth head ass motherfucker.
They let G-Man in the camp because they don't care how stupid you act. They wanted anybody who was down to go against the Israelites.
No, okay, so let me correct that. No, Showtime Sal advocated for G-Man to join the group. Faithful to God and G-Con were both hesitant of letting him join, but they did it on the behest of Showtime Sal, the guy that they go to have their debates. So that's how G-Man got to be a member of that group. So just want to clear that up.
Now, they kicked this guy out, and they're using his arch enemy. They don't just use any old atheist. They use the guy that this guy has big problems with. And, you know, the rest of these Shield
Arch
Squad guys,
enemy.
I don't care about nothing but the
Super
Israelites.
villain.
Maybe every now and then they'll talk about a Muslim. But G-Man actually will get out there and go head-to-head with the atheists. So he's not all about attacking the Israelites all day. You know what I'm saying? But let's take a look at this guy, Faithful to Satan, man. This guy is one of the coldest snakes on the internet, man. Let's just get into it. So with this, I did a lot of chopping up because, you know, it was 2 hours. I didn't have time for all of it. So I just chopped up some
Oh my God, you were born.
so right here, what's going on?
What I'm saying, my dude, what am I?
This is pretty meta. Watching a video of a guy watching a video.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's going to be someone watching a video that's...
Bitch, just watch the video. Shut up.
He's doing it back to them. So what's happening is he's cutting these guys off, and Faithful's trying to get his little words off. But what he's saying is, everybody go to Dragnot's page.
What the fuck is the point in having the video up if you're not going to watch it? What the fuck?
He's purposely saying that to him.
What's wrong with
to
him?
get a rise out of him while he's trying to play this game like he's just this loving, nice Christian. This dude's a snake, man.
Silvas. That's SYLAS. Now,
Isn't it amazing that Faithful to God, I've rarely have talked to up until recently, knows my name, knows how to spell it, and G-Man still can't even pronounce it. I just realized that. I had to point that out.
This is high school, brother.
Listen, hypocrite.
Your person right to be respectful. Stop mentioning that man's channel on my channels.
So as you can see, he knows that G-Man got a problem with that guy. You know what I'm saying? He knows that off top. So that's the reason why he said his name. There's millions of people you can go and get to talk about G-Man. Everybody knows what type of idiot this dude is. This ain't nothing new.
Fuck?
All right?
I know why I'm not talking about the message you don't care because you don't love your neighbor, you love yourself. No, yeah, right. You fall down to pieces, I'll destroy you in a minute, okay?
Okay, so just get ready to switch in a minute here, you know, because I skipped up. And G-Man tells this guy, listen, man, why don't you tell everybody why everybody, why don't you let everybody know why everybody left the soldiers of God? If you don't do it, I will. And Faithful to Satan gets mad. He gets mad as hell. Watch what he do.
Tell everybody why we left. It's not difficult because if you don't, I will.
Now I'm expose you.
My channel. Everybody check out my channel. I'm gonna expose the truth right there. This man is a deceiver.
So he said this man is a deceiver. So what's another word for deceiver? Devil. He just tried to be nice about it. So he just said G-Man's the devil. So these guys had a devil in their camp by his own admittance. And we already knew that. But it was fine when he was being the devil.
Fuck is all this shit?
Now it's
Go back to that booty crack.
So let's go.
Like what?
So now what it is, I fast forward because I went over to his, because Faithful, what he did is he decided, he got mad and said, okay, I'm out of here, I'm exposing you. And he went and did his own check. So, or his own, whatever it's called, his own group. So when you go to his own group, this is what he was saying.
I'm gonna just kick right into things. So we have a special guest here with us tonight. Now, before we say anything, I just want to let it be known, our special guest is not a Christian, but he is somebody who has had the same experiences with G-Man in the past. So I want to introduce Dragnet Silva to
So this dude ran to an atheist so that the atheist could come on his page and talk about the dude who used to be in this camp. And he's talking about who's a Christian, who's not a Christian.
audience out there. Go ahead and say to everybody. What's going on, folks? Yeah, it is.
Why is the audio quality so shitty?
I'd be asking yourself, well, how can I weigh in on the Christian matter?
This is like listening to the radio.
I want to give you an interesting perspective, and I expect people to be apprehensive, and you should be, especially if you are a believer, and take what I say with a grain of salt. Matter of fact, a pound of salt.
I can barely even tell that's your voice.
Yeah, it's distorted.
Can be used as evidence to come to your own conclusions, and I hope that now that kind of folks see this pattern of what's happening, you'll realize that it doesn't matter who G-Man comes in contact with. It really is him at the end of the day.
So it really is him at the end of the day. I guess we really needed to hear this dude say that for us to understand that.
Yeah.
Who in their right mind can't watch what G-Man do and see this dude is out of his damn mind?
I get his point, but sometimes, it helps to, I don't know. I haven't actually sat and listened to that. That's as much as I've listened to because this guy is boring.
This guy sounds like the G-Man of the Black Hebrew Israelites movement.
Drag, do you want to explain for Jordy what these guys have to do with G-Man?
Oh, okay.
Which group is this?
This is the Sakari camp of the Black Hebrew Israelites. So basically, they're grown men that dress like the Black Power Ranger. They'll cut up their grandma's curtains and they'll wear some of those Oriental rugs that you find at those secondhand shops. They'll cut a hole in that and they'll wear that as like a poncho or something. And so they pretend to be, I guess, important guys in some aspect, and it has to do with they think that they're the direct descendants from the 12 tribes of Judah, and they end up preaching a lot of things that cause strife in local communities, like you got to hate white people, that sort of thing. And so G-Man's group, or his former group, I shouldn't even say G-Man's group, the group that allowed G-Man to hang around them, the Shield Squad. They are out to kind of combat this ideology because they see it's dangerous, which it is. But
it's kind of funny because their name is ironically based off of a bunch of Jewish zealots who randomly assassinated people during the Roman occupation.
Yeah, that's somewhat of the idea. They have kind of a helter-skelter kind of plan
and
going on.
In their name, I don't know Latin, but the sick part is based off of, I think, the Latin word for knife, because that's what they did. I realize that has nothing to do with anything. It's just weird that they named themselves that.
They're supposed to be they're big into naming and etymology and stuff like that, so they'll end up renaming themselves different things that are supposed to have some type of meaning. I honestly just have an informant who kind of just gives me all this information, so I'm just repeating it secondhand. I find it fascinating and weird, honestly, but they have their own weird ideology that G-Man is supposedly trying to combat, but he's doing a terrible job.
Yeah, sorry, I haven't been here for an eternity, so I don't know what
this is kind of
doing.
new. This is new stuff. This only sort of leaked into the community within the past month because this group, Shield Squad, threw G-Man out because I don't know what he did other than yell at them, but it's G-Man. What do you expect?
Well, it was a culmination of a lot of things. Like the tipping point was him saying he was going to bust a dragnet on someone's wife. And
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good line.
Bust a dragnet. Oh, that's where the whole dragnet came from.
Yeah. Yes. It came to a head with that when him, G-Man, Faithful to God, and G Consciousness were talking, I think, on the phone, and they were trying to explain to him that we're trying to be Christians, we're trying to be better than these guys. You can't say that. So
yeah, don't you tell G-Man he can't say something. That's a no-no.
Yeah. Oh, it blew up. It blew
By the
up.
way, Dreg, I like the choice of word you used. It came to a head.
No pun intended. Excuse me. No homo. It's
all the homo.
Yeah, it's because after talking to G Conscious, like they had been observing a lot of stuff, because it wasn't just that, it was a few other kind of like mini things that went on in the background. And after a while, Faithful to God, G Consciousness started watching a lot of my videos, and they went back and they started watching a lot of G-Man's videos, and they started seeing like a pattern. And that's ultimately why they contacted me. And because G Consciousness had given me his number ages ago. But he called me and said, "Hey, do you mind if I give your number to Faithful to God?" And I was like, "Yeah, go ahead, that's fine." And so I every time Faithful to God calls, I talk to this guy like for an hour and a half, because he's actually interesting. And so he's kind of been like telling me like the issue they've been having with G-Man, and it's there's no shock that like the same shit that we deal with G-Man, they deal with it, but it's just off air.
What? Did you say something? Oh, sorry, I was on mute.
With Chaos,
Talking
I've had
Jackie.
Chaos Theory. I've had him in here before. Can't remember if it was a fruitful conversation or not.
So Dreg, the guys who do the cosplay, do they make their own shit, or do they have special stores they go to?
Sounds like I buy shit from stores and then make stuff with it.
Yeah, I think they have someone that actually
got a guy.
fabricates the stuff. Yeah, they have a guy that like makes all the stuff. From
So
what I
they
understand.
know a guy, or they got a guy who does. Yeah, this would be a very lucrative business, you know. If you did a good job sewing it and designing it and kept it at a reasonable price, you could make money off these guys.
Oh
selling
yeah, I'd
them their
imagine
idiot
so.
suits.
Yeah, they're just like the neo-Nazis who think they live in 1930s Germany.
Yeah.
Their little cosplay costumes.
Which is why I'm opening up my Flat Earth T-shirt store.
You know, I was thinking about doing that. I was like, you know, what if I just make like a T-shirt shop and just like one of those online T-shirt shops to all these crazy folks.
Oh hell yeah!
Sell 'em.
We ship. Yeah, the Flat Earth online store. We ship all over the globe.
You know what's funny? I actually thought about this today because G-Man gave me the idea. G-Man said that we invite Christians like him, idiots, into to these chats to make money off of them. And the one thing he said, you know, Patreon donations and merchandise. And I'm like, who has merchandise? Like, who actually?
Hey, Drag, don't say that. Don't give Steve any ideas now.
Yes, I'm about to say, you know what? If I start some T-shirts, drag the fucking G-Man Slayer, like, would people actually buy that?
Use that
Okay, all
dragon
right, wait,
image.
Kevin, hold on. Jackie, are you there?
No, she's away from her keyboard.
Okay. Come back to the keyboard for a second here, Jackie, so we can hear you.
Kedlis has a question.
What is the question?
Here, I'll unplug my stupid thing so she can hear you. Okay. All right, what is it?
All right, this is the idea. Jackie, at some point, talk to Drag, and he'll help you find all the imagery and stuff you need. Make a whole bunch of stuff up, and open a Zazzle store selling T-shirts. And then we'll leak this Zazzle store out to G-Man, and hopefully he'll talk about it. And then the Black Hebrew Israelite guys will eventually see the link, go to the store, and see all these wonderful shirts they could buy, and then profit.
Excellent.
You up for it?
Question mark, question mark, question mark, profit.
Well, that's the question mark's the G-Man actually listening. Are you up for it? Could you do some T-shirt design? I'm throwing you a moneymaker here.
She heard you. She's trying to make dinner right now. We'll think about that.
All right, it's something to think about.
So Bobby just super chat, and I have to say this: TE is a great erudite scholar whose shoelaces I am unworthy to tie. That was painful. No, I don't want to do it.
Someone actually paid money to say that.
That's like $3 Canadian.
Yeah. Fucking Google.
And that's why I stopped giving the JD, because I was like, I didn't know it was 40%. They were taking 40%.
Okay, is this Chaos Theory person a troll?
No, I've actually spoken to him before. Yeah, folks, if you want to use Patreon or the thing in the description, I get a message when you do that. You can send me a message and I'll say it like that. But yeah, that Google takes out like 40% of what anyone gives me.
It's only really. Oh, I was just gonna say it's only really profitable if you're one of the larger shit posting hangouts,
right?
Like Destiny.
Oh God, people still play that. But no, it's so the thing is, Jackie, if you want to do that, I'll get my 10%. You can keep the rest. I don't care. But I think it's a funny idea. I'm dead serious. Like if I'll just take 40%, give you whatever images of me that you need and lines and funny shit. Bust
a drag nut.
Yes, yes, with me flexing, going bust a drag nut, and so simulating sex, however you want to do it.
Oh boy.
But now I can't.
Off-white shirt, so you never see the net.
If we do this right, I bet we could make even more per month than Steve makes from Patreon.
You only have to sell 2 shirts, you know that.
Got to make them affordable, though. I want people to have affordable shirts, and then have people.
Like
oh God,
said, drag shirts.
Oh God,
to make more than on Patreon.
For $14.99, like a decent, like a large shirt, and then have Dragnot the G-Man Slayer, and then have people on G Plus take pictures of them wearing the shirt and post it and tag G-Man. That'd be fucked up but funny.
The great debate community is the one with all the money.
I really don't care about the money. I'm in it for the lulz. The lulz are worth it. Great erudite scholar. Oh my God. No, so Chaos Theory, I remember talking to him, like, was it last summer? I remember I spoke to him before. Let me see. Let me check the channel.
It was, yes, I remember him. He was on Skylar Fiction.
Let me see.
What's going on in the chat? Something about zeros and...
Okay. Maybe I didn't put his name in it. That's kind of odd. I wouldn't put his name in it. Oh, let me do this. Yeah, that's the butthole burning session. Okay. Which was okay. No, this had to be around the time that Florida man stole my Bosnian girlfriend. Yeah, so this was around that time. But I changed the title to that. I changed the title of that.
To what? Because that hangout was fucking epic.
That's a good question. I can't remember what I changed it to. I think that was an 8-hour hangout, wasn't it?
It was long.
I think it was one of the 8-hour ones. So it has to be an 8-hour hangout somewhere. Yeah, it might have been this one. Yeah. Broken and Unreadable, a dialogue of respecting. I think that's what it was, if I'm not mistaken. Where is... Doesn't understand. I know I've spoken to this guy. Oh God, GMO shopping. I honestly forget I make these videos. Oh God. No. No.
I don't know, but Chaos Theory seems like a fucking troll to me.
No, he's
Of course
just
he's a
really,
troll.
he's
What the fuck?
really misinformed, like incredibly misinformed. Like I do remember talking to him. Let me see.
It's like almost near the bottom of the barrel, stupid, even though it's an abyss.
Heard after a little.
No, okay, that's just me naked.
Not worth it.
I have too many goddamn videos. I really do. So I'm using zero as a representative of nothing as it relates to the universe cannot be created from nothing. It's pure logic. Oh, yeah, I remember now. He doesn't know what logic means. He does well, okay. When he says logic, he's not referring to Boolean logic or formal logic or Aristotelian logic. He's referring to his personal intuition. Okay? That's what he means when he says that. So replace every time he says logic, replace it with my intuition.
So it's the Dusty Smith notion of logic.
Basically.
Gotcha.
Logic.
Logic.
Yeah, he's not a troll. He's just real. I mean, incredibly misinformed. It's like, and if he feels that I'm misrepresenting him, I can invite him to the chat, and he can put his mental prowess on display for everyone. My logic is actual logic. Zero cannot begat anything.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
I was a math major for a few years, and I don't think he has any idea what he's. Well, obviously, I need to stop thinking about it.
Well, it's funny.
My head's gonna hurt.
One of the people he's arguing with actually teaches upper level math, which is funny because he doesn't realize that half the people in the chat know more than him about this topic. Just like, what is, I don't know. Chaos, you said you wanted to come in and play. So, I mean, you're welcome.
Yeah, Jordy will fuck off if you want to come in.
Does he think that that numbers are God or something like that? Does he think that, like, what the fuck?
Immutable destiny is nothing. If you're nothing, then you don't exist. Your value is zero.
Yeah,
Does he know what zero is?
That's troll speak. Fuck it. That's troll speak.
Zero is the empty set. That's how it's mathematically defined. But that's probably way above his head.
No, Sabella. Sabella, I'm taking computational statistics, so it's a pretty narrow range of things that we go over. It's Excel. Okay, let me put it out there. It's in Excel. Just gonna throw it just so everyone knows. Yes. Chaos Theory is I love Jesus. He's the guy that false flagged Steve's hangout. He and the stock kept getting timeouts. Oh, really?
Tag called it.
Really?
Troll.
Did not know that. Uh-oh. He was messaging me.
Nice try, but I could smell a shit clown a mile away.
Does this mean I don't have to go?
No, Jordy, you're 2 miles away.
You're in Canada. You can't smell anything up there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least we're not freezing to death and buried under 3 inches of snow.
Look here, Canuck. Just because
okay.
I thought it was an Eskimo.
No, Nicola is.
Wait, Nicola is a snow Asian?
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
Sweater Mexican.
Yeah.
Oh, he could be one of those halfers.
He mentions his tribe when the topic comes up, but I can't pronounce it, so I'm not going to try.
You mean tribe blubber eater?
He was in that other hangout. He was talking about like Saskatchewan and Deadpool and Regina. I was like, I'm like 100 miles or 100 kilometers from there, or something.
Nicola, I know you're watching. Please just tell us where you're from, because I'm going to butcher it.
Saskatchewan?
I think he is from Saskatchewan.
Okay, I'm also from Saskatchewan. That's what I asked in the chat. Like,
I think he's in Manitoba.
I thought he said he was from Nova Scotia.
No, he's not from Nova Scotia. I don't think we have anyone here from Nova Scotia.
I can't think of anyone in. Okay, the one person in the community I know is from Nova Scotia is Wendy Canuck, and I prefer not to interact with her.
I'm from Nova Scotia, assholes.
You don't live there.
I actually live here right now.
No one cares.
Yeah, no, he
Like
lives
we
there
said.
right now.
Like we said, there's no one from Nova
planning to
Scotia.
leave.
I don't think there's anyone in the community I can think of from Manitoba. I might be wrong.
Godless Manitoban, but you probably don't know him.
Godless, well, that
Kind
would
of right there in the name.
You mean person Toba?
Person.
Yeah.
Thank you, Justin Trudeau.
Excuse me. We say person Toba around here.
Look,
All I know is Nicola was talking about Deadpool and Regina, and I was like, only people from Saskatchewan talk about Regina.
That's a really unfortunate name and pronunciation.
It's only one letter.
Originally,
away
I thought it
from
was.
lots of fun.
Originally, I thought it was Regina.
Nope.
And then
the only Regina I know is from Living Single.
Well, you can get a lot worse. You could live in Saskatoon.
Who said that about Regina?
Say Regina.
No, but who said that though?
I thought it was pronounced Regina, but apparently it's not.
Haunted. I'll just let you in on a secret here. In Northern Ontario, there's a small town called Swastika.
Oh, really?
Somewhere in Canada, there's a town called
that
Head Smashed In Buffalo Jump.
Yes, we also have out west in Alberta. There's Head Smashed In Buffalo Jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about Canada.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with y'all naming shit?
It's.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, that's real.
I'm pretty sure.
And-
Either it's like Cree shit being turned into English shit.
Cree, that's what he is. Now I remember.
Cree, he's native? Okay.
Okay, yeah, he's from Saskatchewan and he's part Cree.
I wonder if I live in the same city as he does.
Like the only city.
There's Saskatoon and then there's Regina.
Oh, that's right. Regina is
There's a town with a bus stop. You know.
There's Prince Albert. There's a Lloydminster.
Hey, Odeon, do you mind skedaddling so Nicola can come in?
I will go.
Well,
But-
Odeon hasn't said anything.
He's already sent me a message and said that if someone needs a room, that he'll leave.
Okay.
Odeon. Okay, he's AFK. Mabuchi, man. Love you.
I was gonna say I'll snipe him if you want.
Nah, I'm just gonna boot him.
I would have.
We have the king sniper here.
You said hard to leave, and I would have left.
And just as a side note, Kevin, Swastika, Ontario, every so often they try and change the name, and the locals always vote no. It's our name, and we're keeping it.
It's our word. It's our word. We're using it.
How many people live there?
The name of their town.
How many
Is it like
fucking-
only a couple hundred people?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
How many Canadians we got in here? God damn.
1, 2, 3. Then Nicola's gonna be in here, so that's. Wait, no. We're gonna get 3.
Every hangout being 2/3 Canadian.
It's not even 2/3 at this point. Oh no, that's right.
That's a card. That's a card.
1, 2, 3. No, you deleted that card, you fuckface.
Oh, Canada.
No, I didn't.
Did you not? Oh shit.
I changed it from Skype call to Hangout.
I mean, you'd be surprised the origins of things. Like you remember that old ice cream song? Turns out it was racist. Had a bunch of N words in there.
What, turkey in the straw?
What are you
Like a
talking
bunch of
about?
N bombs.
That's the ice cream song.
What ice cream song?
That's where it was derived from.
The generic song played by an ice cream truck is called Turkey in the Straw.
Oh.
Listen,
I
go
know
listen
that.
to the original song. Yeah.
There are
I'll
lyrics
look
to it.
that
If
up.
you listen to the lyrics, you will understand that Wolf is correct. It's really racist.
Oh Lord, pick Bale Cotton.
Yeah, and it kind of fucks. It kind of fucks with my mindset every time I hear like an ice cream truck in my neighborhood. It's like, oh my god, like that's some bullshit.
And you go run after it.
Oh, Susanna has a whole deleted it has a whole deleted section where it's nothing but the N-word. So I completely understand old songs that really are racist.
Yeah, like nigger love a watermelon, ha ha ha.
I just found that on Wikipedia. I was like, wow, okay, that's
silly white people.
There's like all these different versions of it. Oh, there's one called Zipcoon.
Yes, you might hear me mention that term every so often to describe G-Man. If you actually look up the description of a Zipcoon, G-Man fits it perfectly. That's why I call him a Zipcoon.
All right, can you save our internet history here and just tell us?
Okay, so a Zipcoon is basically a recently freed slave that tries to sound more intelligent than he really is. And so he'll end up using a lot of malaprops. And so one of the things, other than being really unintelligent and really uneducated, is the use of malaprops frequently. And so, of course, G-Man is a big fan of malaprops, hence Lugs being his most recent one. And, of course, he pretends he knows way more than he actually does. There's a few other descriptions, but those are the main two I remember.
That's some good old family racism.
Although I think G-Consciousness is the master Zipcoon, as it were.
No, he's just from St. Louis. But the one thing that separates G-Con and G-Man, well, a few things other than actually having a family and being a man, is that G-Con is actually able to call himself out on his own BS and admit when he's wrong. So that counts for a lot in my book.
I mean,
Rickyisms.
When G-Man kind of qualifies as an Uncle Ruckus kind of character for saying that slavery is okay? I mean, I don't know. Like, it's weird.
I would disagree with that. Well, he thinks slavery is okay, but I don't think it's because of the fact that white people are just superior to the black slaves. It's because God said it was okay. Whereas Uncle Ruckus was all like, yeah, the white man is superior and he's civilizing us, and we might as well give him free labor.
It's my Lago.
Exactly.
Oh, come on. All right. If you're going to go here, you have to point out the shrine to Ronald Reagan.
I thought it was Barry Manilow.
No, it was Ronald Reagan.
It was Ronald Reagan.
Oh.
It was for both, actually.
Yeah. He had three of them.
That show was never the same since the original writer left.
Aaron McGruder, he left to make Black Jesus. I mean, after that, it was just like friggin' like Kim Kardashian parodies and friggin' and Dragon Ball Z references with kickball and shit.
Yeah, it's kind of clear that the original, Aaron McGregor didn't continue writing it because there was a certain flavor, a certain style that he had that you can't fabricate that unless you got someone like Paul Mooney. You know, Paul Mooney could probably pick up the slack.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Eddie Murphy's brother, if he wasn't dead, Charlie Murphy.
Yeah, rest in peace, Charlie Murphy. I keep watching Black Jesus. I keep forgetting that he's dead.
I think
they're gonna have to. No, he's gonna have to. They're gonna have to rewrite the story now that he's gone.
I can't believe somebody made a show based off of a Family Guy clip.
What, Black Jesus?
Yeah. Remember there was an old Family Guy episode where they had a segue back to a Black Jesus, and he was preaching, I rode into town on an ass. Your mama's ass, Black Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they did have an episode about that, didn't they?
It's a pretty fun. It's a funny ass show. I like it.
Let me see if Dr. Lee responded back to me.
Hey everyone, my name's Tony. I'm somewhat new to all this hangout stuff, but I've been enjoying your guys' little history of G-Man.
Oh, we haven't even scratched the surface, sir. But welcome.
What's up, Billy? Tony.
Hi.
So what if we told you that G-Man said that you could probably navigate using your nipples?
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, Tony, don't laugh. G-Man actually said this.
What? I thought you were making shit up to be
Nope.
like, Yeah, see, it's believable that he would say. He actually said that.
So how's that
Okay.
work?
What's the context here?
I think he said that around the time that Nadia was still doing Hangouts.
It was on Nadia's channel. So you want to give the context, Kevin?
I'd like the context.
Yeah. Okay.
Or you can't
Does it
just say that.
involve
And leave
sonar
it
or
hanging.
Isn't that also the same place where he doxed himself first?
He doxes himself all the time. It's on.
He
his
ran a marathon.
There's
He
a
doxed
video.
himself
There's
on
a
his
very
channel.
old video that he made where he's running around the park with a megaphone, yelling about how Pokemon are of the devil, and you can hear kids in the background yelling at him to shut up. Well, that park was around the corner from where he lived.
I will say
Where
this.
he
I
used to
think
live, rather.
I will say this. I
Pokemon-
think. I will say this. I think Yu-Gi-Oh is of the devil, not because of any spiritual reasons, but I spend far too much money on that shit.
Oh yeah.
Well, you're a dumbass. No one told you to do that.
I'm not going to argue with that.
No, you guys are missing the circle jerk they're having right now.
They won't come in here. They're a bunch of pussies.
I use the same word I use for Steve. They're called fuck sticks.
I also wouldn't say they're pussies. Pussies have warmth and provide comfort.
Well, what's the nipple thing? You can't say something like that and leave it hanging. What was the?
Yeah, I think he said something about like there was this one time he had surgery and he said that cats can manipulate themselves to see in the dark using their nipples to navigate, and humans can do the same thing. Yeah, he dumb as hell.
And that's why we have nipples. See in the dark.
Yeah, apparently he said nipples. Also he said something about like nipples being able to detoxify, get rid of all the toxins in your body. Like,
yeah,
it was sort of somehow related to that nutrition like nonsense he was trying to like advocate and
that
bring
nutritional
up.
degree he got.
Yeah, certificate, really. That's adorable the way he got that to make it seem like he has credibility.
You can get nutritional quote certificates in nutrition from like alternative health woo-woo places. Basically, if you show up and listen to their shit for a couple hours and pay a fee, they'll give you a piece of paper. It's not anything like being a licensed nutritionist or actually having a degree from a real school. It's just bullshit. But I don't know what the fuck he was talking about.
It's like being declared a level 5 Blazer Lotus.
There was also the hangout I think he had with Brother John Brojo, where he was contesting our classification as animals, as a part of the Kingdom Animalia, and so G-Man's retort was, "Well, if we're part of a kingdom of animals, then who's the king? Who's the king of this kingdom?"
Oh, it's obvious, Greg.
I remember.
He doesn't understand words can have more than one meaning. It's a fucking metaphor.
Did anyone remember Pretty Discourse's upload on that, where he quotes G-Man as saying that, and he turns to that Lion King clip where Simba's being brought to the mountain by Rafiki.
I vaguely remember that. If there's a class of animals, then who's the teacher? If there's a family, then who's a daddy?
That's how he thinks of it.
You notice he doesn't get the phylum.
He thinks his cat is his slave.
Well, he doesn't understand figurative versus literal.
And what was with? Okay, I saw the bit of him holding up the cat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid for that cat.
Yeah,
that cat is smarter than him. I swear to God. Like
Yeah.
that cat is this. If that cat could talk, he could destroy his life.
It's more like the cat was just screaming out loud, "Please leave me
The
out of
bit
this."
yesterday about the cat. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Well, I'm dude. If that cat could talk,
what
I'm pretty sure
happened
he would.
was.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Wolf. Go on.
I was just gonna say the cat would say call the police, but go ahead.
Yeah.
What happened was he was trying to make a point using his cat about slaves and animals, and he held his cat up to the camera, and this cat had this scared, wide-eyed look like he was sending a signal through the camera, like, please, someone come and save me. And it was just the perfect timing. As G-Man's sitting there trying to make this point, his cat had the expression of, I know I'm going to get raped later. And and everybody just started laughing, and which just pissed G-Man off even more because, you know, he's G-Man.
I have a photo of him holding up that cat before, and it has a caption on it I think you guys would like. But go ahead and talk while I find it. Some of you have seen this before. Oh. I'm trying. There were some other G-Man
I wonder
events.
if that cat attacks G-Man when he's sleeping.
No, that cat tries to escape when he's sleeping.
The cat hides from him when he's sleeping. Like that cat is like on some like I'm pretty sure it contemplates its red zone detra. Like why the fuck is he like enslaved to this fucking lunatic? Every time he tries to make a point to people online, he
Stockholm
picks them up.
syndrome. The cat can't leave because who's going to open the tin? The cat has no choice.
That's the only pussy that'll put up with G-Man.
Here we go. Speaking of which, can you guys see that?
Inspecting the nipple.
Well, aside from Shani.
She has
Dark some Drake, what did you caption on there?
That's some that's some fat pussy.
And you put it on Pornhub.
Well, I didn't necessarily put it on Pornhub.
Okay, or at least something got copy pasted from Pornhub.
I got inspired from Pornhub.
Okay. So what exactly is a darksome gent?
A black guy. That's the I guess the pornographically correct term.
Pornographically correct. Okay.
Pornographically correct.
We've heard it here first, folks. That is the pornographically correct phrase.
If you go to Pornhub and type in darksome, you're gonna instantly get Ebony.
Oh, yep, it's right here. It's been verified.
Thank you, Epi, for just confirming that for us. Now, go delete your browser history.
That'll five Hail Marys.
Incognito, bitch.
Get rid
really don't need it. You got the incognito mode. So I've heard.
Or so you've heard.
Okay. I emptied all of it. Wait. Let me bookmark Trans 500. Yeah, there we go. And not browsers.
Yeah, someone said Dragnet, they're having such a sad and true room and how mean Iron Raw is, and you guys need to listen to it. It's delicious.
Oh, the butthurt is delicious.
So mean.
Oh, man, they are really bitch made.
You heard it here.
That's why we call it the Clown Car Podcast.
We call the bitch car posse.
Nobody else is going to do. We have to every once in a while point out, look, okay, he's spreading misinformation. Don't believe him. Here's what he has to say. That's why I've said for the longest time, Iron Raw, we can have a discussion. You know, you don't impress me on anything you're saying. We can talk one-on-one. But, because I've always said, you know what, if I can get it, if I would even go to Iron Raw's
He seems so
channel,
excited.
I think that would be better because I would be able to discredit him on his own channel. Right? And then I wouldn't have to make a video about him again because I would show to everybody, don't take this guy seriously. He has no clue what he's talking about 99% of the topics. But,
Great put his reputation on the line. Steve McGray believes that what that man was saying was 100% true. And I think that he did that because
the sad part is
R&D.
it sounds like he's trying to impress people.
Does.
Sounds like he's trying to impress his fellow Christian brothers by saying, oh yeah, I'll get Aaron Raw into a room and then, whip his ass. Which is not the way that would go down.
No. It'd be mean for me to send Aaron Raw a message and tell him that's what he's trying to do.
It reminds me of those kids like in junior high who'd be like, what's so great about Jackie Chan? I bet I could kick Jackie Chan's ass. He's not so awesome.
Yeah,
Meanwhile,
but you know what? My father knows Jackie Chan. He'll come to the school in 5 minutes.
My dad works for Nintendo. Was Bruce Lee not Jackie Chan, you racist?
Yeah, they all look alike.
Yeah, well,
They're all
one's
known
dead. The
for
other
roughly the
one's
same thing.
The other one's not very dead.
Well, okay, minor technicality.
Speaking
Yeah, I
of,
think it's fair to say I could kick Bruce Lee's ass right now, mostly because he's a corpse.
Yeah.
Who's doing a
If they ever
JoJo
made a
reference?
documentary regarding Bruce Lee, we're all dead.
True.
Even Chuck Norris would shit his pants.
From what I remember, they did a movie together where Chuck Norris's character ended up losing, but put up a pretty good fight.
Hold on. Didn't they recreate like a clone of Bruce Lee in Afghanistan? They did that, right?
oh, you know, there's a guy that yeah, I know who you're talking about. He
Yeah.
he's training to be the next Bruce Lee.
Yeah. That's a good Boys from Brazil scenario right there.
What the fuck?
Was that a vibrator?
No, I'm trying to.
Talking the Bruce Lee movie in that. It's The Way of the Dragon. With Chuck Norris.
Is that what it is? Actually, you guys just reminded me.
It was a big to do because he just came off. Chuck Norris just came off his national title, whatever it was, back in I think 6 or something.
Like Chaos Theory, if you want to actually have a chat, dude, just come in to hang out because I'm about to actually end this, and then we can pick this up later in the week. Because some of us actually have a lab to go to in the morning. Don't know about you. Well, then I have some of this. I was gonna say, if you guys want to listen to something funny, some actual troll shit, I love listening to Breaded Chicken, aka Jerome, troll kids on I say kid, troll guys on like online Xbox Live.
Oh, plenty of them are kids. Come on.
A lot of them are kids. Sometimes get okay. This kid he sounds kind of young, but I'm like, I don't know.
Like what? Like high school age or something like that, or middle school?
Some
like that?
some of them sound like middle school. It's hard to tell, but it's like some of the stuff.
We call those squeakers because their balls haven't dropped
Wait,
yet.
is that the guy who says he'll suck the other guy's dick?
Yes.
Yeah, that guy's hilarious.
So if you guys want to know what I listen to for shits and giggles, I'll play this. Then we'll call it.
Was Justin Bieber and your ass, nigga. What's up with you? Look, you may think I'm gay, but I ain't gay, nigga. There's a big difference between being optimistic and being gay, nigga. There's opportunities for being gay, but I ain't really gay. Because I ain't really gay, if you know what I'm saying. I'm gonna suck that dick.
You know what I'm saying?
What are you telling us?
That's gay, nigga. I don't deal with that.
So what exactly are you?
Hey, nigga. Oh my god.
I can be real with you. Like, I ain't gay, but I will suck a nigga. Dick suck, dog. I'm gonna put in a bowl of salad and talk.
I have seen this video.
He wants. You know he gonna get his
This
ass.
is some old Frank shit. I like this.
I'll play that. I'll suck your toes, dog, and make you think. I ain't gay. I ain't gay. I ain't gay. You know what I'm saying?
Your name's Breaded Chicken, so I thought you were black.
I ain't black, nigga. I'm Asian. A little Asian boy. Yo, little real long meeting. I'm gonna suck that dick.
Hey, have you ever had Israel tender?
Yeah, but your dick tender. I feel like feeling that shit. That I can't eat your dick. You probably need it.
You're a fucking faggot.
Yo, you better watch what you saying, dog. Real talk. Tell my niggas over there with spatulas to spank that ass.
You want to be my boyfriend?
Look, I ain't gay. Boy, you ask me questions like that.
You guys get straight, boy. Those kind of questions. Real world, you're gonna get your dick sucked.
Yeah, you gonna get your dick sucked, nigga. That nigga know already. I don't play shit, dog. I don't play games. I just got out of prison, just got out there. I was the best hair braider in jail, dog. And I sucked real
Oh my God.
My favorite gun is the PNIS, nigga. That's my favorite gun ever. Yo, uncle, when you hit me with that dick, dog, that shit hurt. You gotta be sensitive. You can't just hit me with that big dick and then put it on my cheekbone and expect it not to hurt. Yo,
Hey, Drag.
shut your fucking ass up, dog. I'm tired of you, nigga.
Could you do me a favor? Can you look up first time in jail?
Best raider.
Oh, Gord! Gord! You talking about that?
Yeah, please.
Hell out of that thing. I'm a little Asian boy, nigga. Yo, where you live at? Yo, you better tell me where you live. I'm gonna come over there and beat your.
The cartoon one, please. The cartoon one.
The cartoon? Okay. Yeah. This is another funny one.
Do my 5 years to get up out of here. This 5 years is gonna be a breeze. Okay, got a toilet right there. All right, big fella, why don't you toot that ass up on that bed? Hey, my man, I just came to do my time. I ain't with nothing. Look like a peanut butter Reese's cup, and I need a piece. I don't know what you see, but I just came to do my time. You gonna do your time while getting hit from behind? Now toot that ass up, bro. You tripping. I'm not with nothing. I just came to do my time. I'm gonna go ahead and flip this. Jeff, you stand for jamming your ass while you in lockup. Tripping. And I'm on hard. On hard. Get naked before I come over there and take it. Bro, what is wrong with you? Every time you all over your ass. Bring this up. I'm for the guard, but I'm still on hard. Arch your face up and toot that ass. With your hard.
What the fuck was that?
Okay, can you look up Joe? Okay, now look up Joe Rogan, Brock Lesnar.
I already know what you're talking about. Oh God, that was funny. That was Haha Davis, by the way.
This shit here?
This, yeah, the
Brock Lesnar skit.
That one, the third one.
Yeah.
That one.
So for those of you who are wondering what toot that ass up means, it means assume the position, as in presenting.
Yeah, basically bend over so you know you can get it.
This is certain realities, man. We are talking to a guy like Brock Lesnar, and he's standing over you. There's at least 1% of your brain that's going, please don't fuck me. It's not that he's gay, because he's not. It's not that even if he was gay, he couldn't do better than me. He could do way better than me. It's that Brock Lesnar wanted to fuck you. It'll be his call. What are you going to do, fight it off for a certain amount of time? You get that guy the size of Brock Lesnar, he might be able to fuck you on this stage. He might just bring you up here. Brock smash! 2,000 of us here waiting for somebody else to say something first. Like, the only one in here that might be able to do something about it is Josh. And I might want to watch this play out and see how this all goes down. You don't want to be that first dude. Hey, man, what you're doing is morally wrong. What? Brock smash you! I'm not really worried that Brock Lesnar would fuck me. What I'm really worried is that he would use me as a condom to fuck something way bigger. That's the real fear. I'd wind up in the back of his pickup truck with a pair of bolt cutters going, why are we at the zoo? Shut up! Brock, make decisions!
Also another person from Saskatchewan.
All you guys, Saskatchewan are weird. Okay, what is this?
Craig, it's all flat and there's nothing to do.
I guess.
Almost
You
a
fuck
rectangle.
anything?
But I don't care what they say. Because my love is so strong. They tell us we should be ashamed. We're not husband and wife. But I cherish each moment with you. I'm so glad you're in my life. You're my prison bitch, my prison bitch. Not the other man.
I'm glad we share a prison cell when lights go out at 10. I can't escape the way I feel, now that would be a crime. As long as I am doing you, I don't mind doing time. Cause you're my prison bitch, my prison bitch. And I have no regrets. I got you for a candy bar and a pack of cigarettes. At first you were resistant, but now you are my friend. I knew that I could get you in the end. Prison bitch. I guess that you were sent from up above. Prison bitch.
All right, we'll have to pick this up another time, folks. I am going to head to bed and spend the last waking hour of the day with Mrs. Dragnot. I've been on here long enough, and it seems as though none of the Clown Car Posse wants to challenge, so it's fine. We all knew they didn't. So entertaining you all was well worth it. Well worth it. Maybe one day Arn Raw will actually take some of these guys seriously, which I doubt. But I don't know. Who knows? In the summer, might try and contact Arn and see if he wants to go out for a beer or something like that and live stream it. Who knows? But who knows what the future holds? Oh, and we'll make fun of them.
Nice meeting you guys.
Nice meeting you too,
for
man.
10 minutes.
Yeah, you'll invite him out for beer only to have him confuse you with G-Man just like DPR Jones did.
Oh no, I'm not going to stay silent then. I would bitch him out just a little bit.
What the? Sam, you missed so much.
You missed it.
If you ever want to talk stand up and improv, I studied improv and did stand up for about 5 or 6 years out here in Vegas.
Sick.
I'll be sure to take notes, man. Like, I'm all for I'm all for notes.
Yeah, anytime.
Take some of this catfish and put it in your meat.
Hey, Greg, can you play the VR chat one there at 11 minutes, 7 seconds on the third row, second in?
Yeah, I'm looking at the Steve Johnson video, and it's creepy.
That
Right?
you got in Knuckles there? No, over one.
Oh, you
over
got.
one.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Do you
All right.
know
The way.
All right.
Ebola?
You don't know the way.
Do you know the way?
Who are you? Why are you walking so fruity?
Cars from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
What is going on here?
This one's not funny.
What the hell is going on here? This bitch is twerking.
Oh shit, cool skin.
I am the Wakandan Knuckles. Oh shit, get away from me.
Drag, it's not as funny as I thought it was.
What the?
Is this really what goes on in these VR things?
Yeah, there's those guys who show up with these little Sonic the Hedgehog characters, and they run around asking, "Go the way." He's one of the Ebola.
It's like if somebody had somehow managed to animate the 4chan ego.
Hey,
to manifest.
Hey, Drag, real quick, could you do Honest Pranks with Uganda Knuckles?
All right. Well, last one.
Sweet.
You know the way? You have Ebola?
Which one is it?
Yeah, the first one right there.
You know the way?
This prank is based off the Ugandan Knuckles meme. Do you know the way? It's a lot funnier if you're a bit familiar with it. It's basically a depiction of the African version of Knuckles from Sonic, repeatedly saying, "Do you know the way?" Here's a small snippet. You do not know the way.
Yeah.
I decided to call up a random 7-Eleven to see if they know the way. It's amazing. Check this out.
Thanks for calling 7-Eleven. How may I help you?
How are you doing, my brother?
I'm doing good. What can I get for you?
I want to know if you possibly could help me with one thing. Do you know the way?
Do what?
Do you know the way?
Know the way where?
Basically, I need to know the way.
Apparently you need to know more.
No, but...
Good morning, 7-Eleven. This is David. May I help you?
Hello, David. How are you doing?
Doing good, sir.
I asked your other associate, I was wondering if you possibly know the way.
Know the way?
I want to come to you, but I need to know the way.
Where are you at, sir?
I am close by, down the street.
Do you understand this is a business?
I know I want to come to you to bring you my business. I just need to know the way.
Okay, well, I can't tell you the way if I don't know where you're coming from.
I'm at the street. I'm down the street.
If you're down the street and you know where we're at, then you know how to get here. Stop freaking calling, dude.
This is so dumb.
This fucking troll.
Sir, let me tell you something. If you call this number again, I will turn it over to the sheriff's department. So you have a good day. You understand?
Does he know the way?
Good day.
Does the sheriff know the way?
This is a job for these people.
The guy on the side of the road, he was trying to plead with me to help him with something. I guess he was trying to reach out to you guys. He had this number on his cell phone. Does he work there? Is this a 7-Eleven?
No, sir. This is 7-Eleven. Yes, sir, it is.
Gotcha. So he's been asking me if I know the way. I'm calling. Is he trying to get there?
Like I said, I kept asking him where he was at.
This person doesn't work there.
No, sir, I do not know that person at all. I do not know that accent, so he does not work here. I know that for a fact.
Oh, gotcha. Because he keeps on pleading. He's like, no. But do you know the way? Like, you know what this means? What does he mean? Like, what does he?
I don't know. That's why I kept asking him. Do you know where you at? Well, I can tell you how to get here.
He's insistent that you know the way. Like he's your coworker or something like that.
No, sir.
Gotcha. So I guess, do you know the way, or whatever he's talking about?
I have no idea what he's talking about, sir.
Okay.
I do not know, because I don't know.
My brother, please, you know the way.
I don't
White people are the biggest trolls, man.
Please, just tell me the way.
I don't know who you are, but like I say, this next call that I'm going to make will be to the police and the sheriff's department to see what's going on with this.
Okay.
See what I can do to you. You have a good day.
Okay, but do they know the way?
Dude, when I asked them flat out, so do you know the way, or I was gonna die. Like, it was so hard.
Do you want to know the way? You can send the same prank right now in our automatic prank calling
Okay,
application.
that's all right.
I hope there's a special place in hell for these people.
This
On
is
that
literally the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
White people are the biggest fucking trolls.
I've called a few
Yes.
people have heard me on the phone, and I say crazy shit to people all the time, but I'm not doing it intentionally. Well, that one time when I called the PetSmart, yeah, but I really
And
did
when you
want to
called
know.
the Atheist Experience.
All right, Drag. When you called the PetSmart, finish the story.
When I called the PetSmart, I told them that I accidentally killed my wife's pet, and I needed another fucking beta, and I needed one that was a little bit more hardy. I think that I said something to that effect, and the lady was like, she was chilling me the entire time, trying not to laugh. But actually, that was a while back. Shit, this was back when I was in
you
Maryland.
actually killed a fish?
Well, I revived it. I almost killed. I thought I killed it, and then I think I called him back because I found a way to revive it.
A whisper.
There was something wrong with it. I forgot what it was.
Like what?
I don't know. I gave it a
Massage its
CPR. I think I massaged its anus and made it shit or something. I think it was constipated. It might have been it. We went through a few fish since then. Went through
If
a
it
few.
was a beta fish, you probably would have had to like teaspoon it back up to the water just to make sure they could breathe.
Do you still have those whatever you had before?
The crawfish? No, I had to euthanize them.
I remember. You remember Chris? Like Chrissy? Like I remember. I remember a story of him having a hamster. I wonder what happened to it.
Shoved up his ass. I don't know.
No,
But,
that's a gerbil.
This is gerbil? You sure he wouldn't like hamsters?
No,
up there?
no, this is Christy. It was a hamster.
No, it's no. Like Richard Gere shoved a gerbil up his ass, or so the
Christy,
story
it's a
goes.
hamster.
But I think a hamster wouldn't be as effective as a gerbil.
What about a guinea pig?
I'm curious, what's your rationale for that?
Asshole. I have no rationale for that, other than I just think it's funny to argue a point that I have nothing to do with.
On that note, I think we're going to bring this to a close and let them finish whining. Thank you, people, for watching. We're going to go lay down with Mrs. Drag and contemplate life. See y'all
Get the
later.
fuck out of here. We all